And we're live, mostly. So far, anyway. Howdy, howdy, everybody. Good to see everybody here. We'll start with introductions. So it looks like Hot Dog Pilot Andy got the cookie. Congrats, Andy. Hope you enjoyed that cookie. And good to see you here tonight. And the second was Gerald Stewart. He got the half cookie. Good to see you, Gerald. Nah, damn. Got something stuck in the back of my throat. Let's see who else we got here. And we're scrolling. Right. We got John Nippenberg. Hey, John, how's it going? Good to see you. Train Man 1, Mickey. How you doing, Mickey? Good to see you. I remembered your name, too. I'm terrible with names, but I'm getting better at it. Ray Bertelson. Good to see you, Ray. And we have Dundas Junction Model Railroad. James, how's it going? Good to see you here. And who else do we have? We have Joe Rader, Black Rock Central Railroad. Joe, howdy, howdy. Good to see you. And Floyd Robbins. Good to see you, Floyd. I think is that everybody? I think it is. That was pretty good. Yeah, I know. I checked the mail. I always keep the tracking number so I can follow it too. Glad you got it. Have fun painting it and all. I hope you show it to us when it's done. I'm sure it'll look really good. So we have a lot of stuff to cover today. And yes, it's all train related. Imagine that, right? I know most of you are curious of what I'm doing here. Other than making a mess, I'm doing basically a partial renovation of my layout. Most of what's on the bottom level is going to stay mostly the same. I say mostly because there are some changes to that as well. But mostly it's the second level. Now, my original second level was 9 inches higher than the bottom level, which 9 inches isn't much. I mean, you're talking, It was so dark under there, even with the LED light strip, it was just terrible. I didn't like it. I said, you know what? I've got to change it. But I looked at the possibilities, all right, how can I realistically change this? Of course, I knew I was already going to be doing the outside expansion, basically building another room on the outside of this shed. So I'm thinking, all right, well, I could put a helix in there. Now, the helix has been kind of well, I was looking at the one from, I can't think of the name of the place now, something Scenics. The same one that Tom Grassi uses. Well, in order to go up 18.5 inches, I'd need 6 loops or 6 levels. I'd be looking at literally a little over $600 for all the components to put together their helix to do it. And I'm thinking, that's just crazy damn money. I'd rather spend it. Yeah, is it Woodland Scenics? No, it's not Scenic. Something else. I'll tell you here in a minute. Hold on a second. Where did it go? It's Trackside Scenery. That's what it is. And it was Scenery something. They make helix as well as backgrounds and a few other things. But $600 is a hell of a lot of money. And that's for a single track. Doesn't include the track. That's just for the helix itself. So all the helix components, the risers and the glue strips and all that, and it's like, that's just too damn much money, More than I want to spend anyway. So, no, I'm not going to use plywood, James. I am going to use the fiber hardwood board. Well, we have a different name for it, which you can't say on the air, but it's the brown stuff here. It's an eighth of an inch thick. It's relatively easy to cut. And I could do 6 levels with 3 full sheets of 4x8. Each sheet is $13.98. It's damn cheap, so it's 13.26, 30, almost $40 for 3 sheets, and I could build my 6 levels. Yes, I'll have to jigsaw cut it and maybe sand it smooth and stuff, but it'll be fine. You know, I'm pretty solid with a jigsaw, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. But I could build the helix for right around $100, and I could print the risers using the same format that Trackside Scenery uses. I'll just print them instead of using Gator board. Just not a big deal. I've got all the measurements and stuff, so basically I'm just going to duplicate what they have, but out of a different material. Now, for one piece of the Gator board as part of the helix, and it takes eight pieces per loop, one piece is almost $10. It's fucking poster board. Basically. I mean, it really is. It's not anything special. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's a lot of money for that. Hey, Roy, Container Man 68, how you doing? Good to see you here. No, I'm not going to go too thin. Like I said, the fiber hardwood is fine. And with the pieces around it, the braces, the risers, as they call them, the risers, I can put as many risers as I need, to really stiffen it up. You're not going to see it anyway because it's going to be in the other room outside of this area. So I'm not really too concerned with, what it actually looks like as long as it works well. And actually, I think the Gator board is about 1/8 of an inch thick too. So technically, the fiber hardwood would actually be a hell of a lot stronger than the Gator board would be. However, it won't be as lightweight. Because one of the things they brag about their helixes is, you got like a 6-level helix and you pick it up with one hand and cart all over the place. It's really light, which is cool. But it's not like they're going to be carrying this thing all over the place. Once it's set, that's where it stays. So that's the way it's going to work. Let's see what we got here. As made, meant for O gauge. I went 1/4 inch for O gauge and now wish I had gone slightly thicker. Well, yeah, but O gauge is a lot heavier too. So that also makes a difference. Like I said, it depends on your risers. Now, technically, the risers are about this far apart, which is about probably 10 to 12 inches. I could put them closer if necessary, if I think there's any possibility of warpage, which I don't think that's going to be an issue. So, and it might happen. It doesn't really get hot in here now. The expansion room will also be heavily insulated like this one is. So even when it's 100 degrees outside, it really only gets about 80 in here. That's without the air on. I turn the air on, it drops it right down to 75 or whatever I set it at. And even in the cold weather, it can get down in the 40s at night, like during the winter. And it stays relatively warm in here, probably about, it's between 70 and 75. So the insulation really made a big difference, and I'll insulate the expansion as well for the same reason. Let's see. Roy says, if y'all remember, Chuck Baker, his helix was outside under a lean-to. The sides were open, but he did live in Tucson. Yeah, that'd be pretty hot out there. This won't be outside. I am building another room, an addition, or I call the expansion. It's going to be 6 foot 4 inches out and 16 foot long, fully enclosed, no doors, no windows, just like this shed here. The doorway will be right over there behind me. And basically what I wanted to do was, the original plan was to move all my printers and the sink and the paint booth all in the other room so I'd have more room in here because it's getting a little crowded in here. I've got 4 printers, 2 resin, 2 filament printers. They take up a lot of space. I put them in the other room. That gets them out of my way, you know. So that's that plan. Let's see. Hey, ELW Trades, how you doing? Good to see you here. So, let me shut that down. So that was the one thing I'm doing. So because I'm doing the Helix, I was able to get rid of literally the 45-foot ramp that started over here in this corner, goes all the way around to the other wall, and left me with about, I think it was 16-foot length of flat deck for the second level. The rest of it was all on a 2 to 3% grade, which kind of sucked too because it just ate up so much space. So this way I can use, like, I got that real estate back, so I'm going to put in a highway over here on the right side and more background buildings and stuff. I'm not going to add any track there at all. As a matter of fact, I'm going to leave the two main lines exactly where they are. And then I've got the spurs and actually a private, sort of semi-private track for the sugar line. Just like, 'cause this is kind of a representation of where my house is. I actually have a model of my house and the shed and the chicken coop and everything, you know. And so that much, that's why I didn't want to disturb this too much, because I like the way it's set up. Now, the only thing I am doing differently, now you all know I had an overhead rail system that was for passenger service. I did take it down because I couldn't remove the ramp. That was a big 1x6 that was 12 foot. And there was no way I was going to get out of there without screwing up a whole bunch of stuff, as long as that overhead rail was in place. So I took the overhead rail down, which made it a lot easier to remove it. So what I did was, and I'm going to change pictures here in a minute, cameras rather. All right, this here, well, this was the original piece for that. I'll tell you what, let me go back to the other camera. Better. This was the original supports. Here's some wide ones that went over the two main lines. And then where I had area, I used a thinner support. But to see, they're pretty high. And I looked at it and said, does it really need to be that high up? I mean, scale-wise, it's about 4 stories. Which is a little ridiculous, because, I mean, I've actually been in New York and Chicago where they have the overhead rail or the subway system, or well, they call it a subway, but it's not really. Parts of it is. And it's only about maybe 2.5 stories. So I said, well, let's do this instead. So I printed new supports. This is, the track goes on top of this part here. And I've got more of these, but these are the new supports. So I modified some old ones that I had that I actually designed. And what I did is I put a raft under them, you know, which is this part on the bottom here. But I decided to leave them on there because they make good support stands. I can bury them, you know, put sand over them or whatever. So you won't actually see the base, but it'll make it more secure. Hey, Dave, BNSFN Scale, how you doing? Anybody else pop in there that I didn't notice? Oh yeah, today is D-Day. Happy D-Day, everybody. And for those who might have served in any war, we appreciate your service and thank you for it. And hopefully we won't have any more wars to deal with anytime soon. So anyway, I gotta make about 40 of these things, maybe more. And like I said, I've got them set up so where I got the perfect width on them. They'll be glued together. There you go. And that's going to go all the way around. Now, what I did was, because that obviously can't go over the main lines, I'm moving it in to the left. And let me see if I can... I don't really have a good shot of this. I don't have a camera out here, but... move some of this crap out of the way. Over here on the left-hand side of the two main lines, I'm going to do it there all the way down. So I'm actually pulling it closer forward to the front of the bench. And I'll keep it in the same distance on the rear table where it was before, but same height, or the new height rather. And then over here on the left side, I don't know where I'm going to place it yet. I may bring it further forward. I may bring it backward. I haven't decided yet. I'll wait until I get the second level deck in, then we'll decide. But so it's going back in there. I'm not dropping the line at all. Now I am moving the terminal, overhead terminal, from the drop down gate, and it's going to be over there fixed on the left side. And I might have a small one on this side, a very small one, almost like just like a little small building above, stairway leading down, which actually might be perfect if I could probably set it up so where it actually goes over the tracks, the two main lines, and down near the highway. So that'd be like a drop off to get to the businesses. We'll see. Like I said, none of this stuff is going to be, too realistic, but hopefully it'll be better than before. Hey, Rick, Waycross Train Spotter, how you doing? Good to see you. Did I miss anything here? So I'm not paying too much attention to the chat. Sorry, guys. But, if I pay attention to chat and try and talk at the same time, I wind up further behind than Dave does in his morning brew. I'm trying not to do that. Let's see if I missed anything. No, not really. John says, I went higher because I wanted to clear the water tower. Yeah, I've seen yours. I just looked at your latest video. That tower looks good, too, doesn't it? But yeah, I can understand that, so. But, like I said, realistically, what are you, about 6 stories up? So I didn't really want to go that high for a lot of different reasons. So I decided to actually drop it down a little bit. Figured it might actually be more plausible for it to be lower. And I made sure that it won't interfere with any of the trains. Even the double stack containers won't interfere with it. It's still high enough. What is it, about, I think the double stacks are about 3.5, 3.25 tall from the track. Yeah, you've got 4 1/8 here. 4 1/8 inch clearance between the ground and the bottom of this trestle. So it should be fine. Let's see. To make sure I didn't miss anything important. Joe Rader said, my dad jumped into France with the 82nd Airborne. Never talked about it at all. My dad fought alongside the 82nd Airborne. He wasn't in it. He mostly ran the howitzers behind, at the back of the line, but he says that he met a lot of guys from the 82nd Airborne. He didn't talk much about it either. I'm not sure why people are so closed-mouthed about their war, but I think in some ways they're probably a little bit ashamed of what they did, even though it was necessary. I don't know. As I said, my dad would, very rarely would he open up and talk to me about, he fought, he was stationed in Europe, almost every country in Europe. He was in Africa for a while. He fought he fought under General Patton. He said he actually met Patton. So, he got around pretty good, and he was one of the lucky ones that came back. And came back whole, so, not everybody was that lucky. I remember a couple of times he told me some stories about, he was been in a foxhole. I think that was in Europe somewhere. That might have been France, I don't remember. He says, him and his fellow soldiers, they're all in foxholes, and the next thing you hear, next thing you know, his buddy's gone, he's dead, direct hit from a mortar shell or whatever, and it's like, he said it scared the hell out of him, and I guess it would. Watch somebody get blown up right next, literally 3 foot away from you. Some scary shit, but anyway, it's done and over with, and we should never forget, but we should strive to not do it again. And unfortunately, that jackass we have for a president is trying like hell to drag us into World War III. And I sincerely hope that that doesn't happen, because it won't end well for anybody. And that's all I'm going to talk about on that for today. Let's get back to trains. So, let's see, I got a little bit behind here again. That's true, Dave. A lot of good men died that day. Very unfortunate. Ah, James, your package arrived. That's cool. Glad to see it. Glad to hear that. Make sure you, after you finish painting it and get it all dialed up, shoot a quick video of it and show us all what you did with it. That'll be cool. So, where was I? So, that's about the only thing that really changes on the bottom level, is the overhead rail, and of course the station that goes with it. Everything else is pretty much, I think, going to stay mostly the same. I might rearrange some businesses. I don't know yet. Because a lot of stuff's already wired in. I don't like the idea of moving stuff around and having to rewire, because wiring sucks. So, we'll see. Hey, Rail Artist, good to see you here, man. All right, John. Be nice. So now the second level. Now tomorrow, I'm going to Home Depot and I'm going to pick up some of the wood. And I was really undecided until I really started looking at it, of what I was going to do. I had 3/4 inch plywood up there that was suspended by 2x4s along the wall, and round dowels in the front, which looked like shit. So we're not doing that again. You know, I forgot what that rail gun was called, but I know which one you're talking about, but I don't remember what it was called. So I'm going to be doing 1x3s by 8 foot lengths. You can build a frame that's going to be 18 inches deep on this wall, and actually I think it's almost 22 foot from this end back to the back wall. That's going to be pretty light. I'm not going to put any plywood in it because it's unnecessary. So I'm just going to put the 1 inch pink foam on there, glue it to the top of the wood. Now there'll be lots of braces in between to strengthen it up, but also it'll keep it a lot lighter. So once again, I've got to be really concerned with money on all this stuff, because, you know, nobody's shitting money out for me. So not that I would expect anybody to, but I'm on a tight budget. And this whole project, the whole expansion outside and the inside second level, I think it's probably going to take me a year or a little, maybe even a little longer. So I can do some of the things pretty quickly, but then other things take time because I have to put together the money to buy materials. So, tomorrow I'm going to buy enough 1x3s to do the 22 foot run on this side. I'll assemble that in my garage. Of course, it'll be 3 pieces, 8 foot sections, and then a little bit less for the last section. Now, I was thinking about brackets. So what I did was, I said, well, I could buy metal brackets. They're nothing special. They're not even that expensive, but, you know, do I really want to go that route? And I'm thinking, you know, I could print my damn brackets up myself. So I designed this bracket. I haven't printed one yet. I'll probably print it tomorrow. I'll start printing tomorrow. This is the STL file for it. They're 10 inches long, like 10 inches down on the other end, with the brace in between, and there's holes there so you can put screws in the top sections and then, of course, in the bottom as well. So, like I said, I can print probably 4 or 5 of those a day. I'm thinking about every foot. Well, actually, was it 16 inches on center for the studs in the back there? So every stud's going to get a bracket. Now, those are going to be 20 millimeters thick by 20 millimeters wide, which is just under an inch. It's like just under, I think it's just under 7/8 thereabouts, because they're 25 millimeters to an inch. So, you said they'll be screwed into the studs, so they're not going anywhere. And this plastic, I mean, I built this small bracket for one of my floating shelves because it's not level the way it should be, and I needed the support underneath of it. And I'll tell you what, this stuff's pretty damn strong. And this is a thin one. This is only 10 millimeters wide, and I think 4 millimeters thick. So the other one will be probably just as strong as the metal one, possibly stronger. We'll see. Let's see, what did I miss here? Yeah, I don't think so. Let's see, where we got here. This Jim set up a GoFundMe support my initiative. If I thought it would work, I probably would, but I don't really like begging for money, you know. I mean, I'm not that bad off yet. Close, but not bad. Problem is, I went through all my excess money when I sold the house down there in Naples. I had $107,000 left after I bought this place. But I had to put almost $60,000 into the house to correct all the problems. I mean, it was not really a fixer-upper, but there were things that were wrong that I had to replace just because I wanted to. And of course, that also accounted for the shed in there. This shed was $8,200, you know. And I got the other shed, the small utility shed. That was almost $4,000. So, I mean, all this stuff's I need a riding mower. That was $2,000. That shit adds up real quick. So the money, it went real fast. And that's okay because I needed to do what I needed to do. Oh, excuse me. Joe says, Jim, you know, we get a big raise next year. That's why I started laughing. You know, what they thought, they said it was what, 3.2%? You know, it won't even be enough to cover inflation. Plus, you know, well, I don't have to pay Medicare because I'm special help or whatever because I'm diabetic and heart disease and all that crap. So, fortunately, I don't have to pay for that, but still, you know, I get $15.35 a month. That's not a lot, you know. Plus, I get some money from my mother-in-law from renting the guest house, so roughly around $2,000 a month I've got. But you know, I've also got, you know, I just got my electric bill. Last month's electric, I just paid it. It was $350. This one will probably be a little bit more because as we get closer to summertime, the bill skyrockets, and it could easily see $450, $460 a month until it starts cooling down. Remember, I got air conditioner here. I got the big one in the house. I have another mini split in the guest house. We have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 refrigerators, 2 full-size, 3 minis. I have a deep freezer in the garage. I mean, I can't complain because we do suck a lot of juice here, but, you know, but it eats into the profits a little bit. Plus, I'll have to start putting money away again for property taxes. My house is paid for. Still got the damn taxes to pay every year. So, like I said, I wish they would give us about, I wish they'd just give us $1,000 across the board raise. You know, bring me up to $3,000 a month. I'd be fine. I live like a king on that, but you know, they're giving these damn illegals, and I hate to get political, but just for a minute, they're giving these damn illegals $7,000 a month, and they're not even here legally. It's bullshit, you know. Meanwhile, they're throwing veterans out in the street. They're throwing the homeless out in the street. You know, actual Americans to kiss these illegals' asses. Really pisses me off. And anyway, that's enough. I'm not going to get into that. So, let's see here. What we got here? So the big raise is kind of a joke. Rail artist says that is the only joy of disassembling a modular layout to move, saving all that money by using the salvaged wood. Wood is expensive. I said the 1x3x8. It's the good stuff. But it's still pine. I think white squared off pine, so it won't be warped or anything. You know, it's $6.65 for an 8-foot stick. Well, just for that wall, I need 10 sticks because of all the braces in between. I said I'd like to put braces. He said basically about 16 inch off center or on center, whatever. The more braces, the less I have to worry about putting anything on the top. I could get away with the foam. Like I said, there's not going to be a lot of weight up there on top of it either. So I can get away with the foam. But hell, the foam's $30 a sheet, man. And I'm going to need, I'll have to buy 3 sheets of that. 2.5 sheets will cover this one. And then I'll have some left over for the other walls. But, you know, all together, I'm probably going to be spending close to, probably around $200. Yeah, $250 just for the wood for the second level. And then, of course, foam and the brackets. Like I said, I could do a lot of brackets. I'll have to get more filament, but last time I got 5 rolls for $70. I'll do that same deal again. And I could print up a whole lot of stuff on 5 rolls. So we'll see. Yeah, see, unfortunately, all the wood that I had up there, I really couldn't reuse because I wanted a lightweight frame type shelving assembly rather than just putting a big board on there. And I tell you what, those boards, they were 2 foot deep by 8 foot long because I bought a full sheet, had them cut it right down the middle, and that was the second level. We were 16 foot. And I had to get the wife to help me take them down because I couldn't carry the damn thing myself. I mean, there was a time I could, but, you know, because of my disability, not so much anymore. I don't have the strength that I once had. But, so that's what I said. I'm looking at different things. I'm looking for ways to save money, but still get the job done well. And I'm really behind here, so let me get caught up here. Sorry to hear that, Gerald. Yeah. Never fun to lose anybody. Sorry for your loss. Boy says, hell, everything is expensive these days. Well, that's true, it is. Hey, 187 HO scale, how you doing? Good to see you here. Yeah, unfortunately, everything is ridiculous. That's why I said I could save money by printing a lot of the stuff I need. I mean, I could print that bracket for literally about 10 cents. If I bought a metal one, I'm looking at probably $4 or $5. Other probably more now. I don't know. Everything just shot up. You know, it's crazy. You know, it's a shame that I can't reuse these because I made like, what, 40 of them thereabouts. But, you know, they were cheap enough to make, so it's not a big deal. Andy says, our whole family survived the 2 wars. Nearest miss when a German landmine blew my grandmother's clothes off. Are you serious? Oh, she was lucky. I'm sure, probably a little bit embarrassed, though. Dave says, need to go feed me surviving on so. Yeah, exactly. It's tough. I mean, it really is. You know, I wish I had more money to play with because I have the time and the will to do all this stuff. I said, I really just don't have a whole lot of money to work with. And things take time because of it. So what would normally take me probably, say, 4 months to do is going to be at least a year, maybe more. You know, that's just the way it goes. Like I said, the expansion is going to cost me probably around $1,000, which isn't bad for a 6 by 16 basic room. There's only 3 walls I got to put up: the floor and the roof. I got to use a metal roof up there instead of the shingles. And there's a little bit of an overhang on this, well, on both sides. So if I shove the metal up underneath the overhang and maybe silicone it real good, I don't have to worry about leaks, rain getting in or anything. So I've looked at it. I've got a good plan for construction. It's solid. It'll work. Like I said, I've done a lot of this stuff before. So it'll work out fine. Just it's going to be expensive. I'm looking at, I think, a total of 50 or 55 2x4s. And 2x4s are $371 each. So that's pretty realistically about $170 after tax, maybe more. Just in the studs, Now I'm going to use 2x4s on the floor too. Stand them up and put them 12 inches apart. So once again, I'm using more wood, but I'm also saving a lot more money than if I use 2x6s. 2x6s were like almost, they're over twice the price of a 2x4. And I'm thinking, this is crazy, So, and it'll all be elevated off the ground anyway. So, yeah, it'll work fine. Like I said, it's the way the shed is built wasn't, it's not bad. It's a quality build for what I paid for it, but I think they've got 2x4s in the floor, because when you walk on it, you can feel it, dip a little bit. Now, granted, I weigh 220 pounds, but I walk through the floor kind of waves a little bit. So I don't think there's anything really solid underneath me here, But it'll be fine nevertheless. Let's see. ELW says I was being funny, Jim. They do it on every street corner. Yeah, it seems like it, doesn't it? What's that? Feed your addiction, fuel your addiction, let other people fuel your addiction. I wish I could, like I said, if somebody, if somebody actually gave me money, I would take it. I'm not that proud, but I wouldn't ask for it. I just don't feel right asking for money to do my thing. Hey, get a carbon tax. Do you really get a carbon tax rebate? Yeah, they don't do that here. I'd probably be owing them money anyway, because, I'm not exactly green. Oh, and my grandfather was buried when a V-2 rocket came down. He was taking a... Oh, that's not a good way to die. I'm sorry to hear that, Andy. I really am. Yeah, Dave's got the right point. That's why everything in Canada is so expensive. Probably true. Yeah, you guys are paying for that. Nothing's free. If the government gives you something, they'll find a way to take it back 2 or 3 times over. They do it here all the time. Like you said, they'll give you a big raise on your Social Security, or, for my case, disability. But then, well, like I said, I've been lucky because I don't have to pay for Medicare, but they get their money back through Medicare, because they'll give you a 3.2% raise in the Social Security, rather. But then they'll raise Medicare up 4%. You actually come out with less than what you started, And they think we're so stupid we don't notice. We notice. There's not really anything we can do about it. And of course, they stole probably hundreds of billions of dollars from the Social Security Fund anyway. That was what basically paid for the Vietnam War. They were dipping into it. There's a whole bunch of IOUs in the bank account for Social Security. And bastards never paid it back, and they probably never will. I said, let them cut it off, though, and see what happens. There will be civil war in this country. Anybody over the age of 60 They'll be picking up a weapon and taking care of business. At that point, they got nothing to lose, you know. Uh, Roy says, I'm trying to build a train shed and I'll be living in a train shed. That's not good. Well, then again, no, I mean, my wife says I practically live. I said, why not going to move the bed over here, you know, because I'm always over here, you know. That's because I'm trying to do things. I mean, you know, a lot of times I just watch YouTube videos on the computer, but, you know, I mean, the thought's there anyway. Floyd Robbins said, lucky you, James. They told me I didn't qualify for it. That'd be me. I wouldn't qualify either. James says, Dave BNSF, our government is stupid. Yeah, well, with that idiot you got running things up there. I thought Biden was bad, but I think he's competing with Biden, you know, Trudeau. Is he really? I mean, I've heard this many times, but it's never really been proven one way or the other. Is he really Castro's bastard son? They claim that Fidel Castro had sex with a Canadian woman, got her pregnant, and that's where Trudeau came from. And I mean, there's a whole lot of similarities between them. You know, mostly mental, but I mean, there's a little bit of looks there too that it's a possibility. Yeah, there you go. Need a couple of containers. You know, if it wasn't for the problem of I could have got containers really cheap. I could have got a 30-foot container. It was a 30 or 40-foot container for around $6,000, brand new. I could have bought two of them, put them together, and I would have had a massive, you know, I think they're 12-foot wide. So I would have had 24 by 40 foot nice area, but I didn't think about it at the time, you know. Also, I could have also got a used what do they call it, the square mobile homes, the park models. I could have got a park model for around 8,000 or 9,000, you know, a used one. I would have to strip everything out of it, but other than that, I mean, and they're pretty big too, but I just, you know, I was looking, I guess, for the most convenient way to get a shed here. So if this was 8,200, it was, the other thing, it had no interior walls. Well, you can look back at my past videos. I show it when it first got here and what it looked like before I put the walls and the electric and all the other stuff in there. But that was easy for me to do, so it wasn't a big deal. But there really were other alternatives. Even a regular mobile home I could have had brought over here. You know, probably could have got one that was not in that great a shape, really cheap. But there would have been a lot of work, though, to get it up to my par, so I didn't go there. It's a sad state. Yeah, it is, but, you know, what are you going to do? Should have jumped ahead again. I hate when that happens. I don't know why it does that. Well, I'm really behind, too. I get really behind. Yeah, Roy, I guess you would need land for that, too. And he says, my town don't allow containers inside some. Yeah, that would be a problem, too. You'd have to be out in the rural, probably. James says, I built my entire new layout for $800 Canadian. That's not bad. Land isn't that bad in Kansas, is it? Hard telling. Roy says he's not sure. It's probably like here. There's expensive land and then there's inexpensive land. It just depends what... If people think they can get crazy money, they'll try, you know. And if they don't sell it, they'll probably come down to earth and you get a better deal on it. There's 4 acres out here, 4.5 acres next door to me. I wanted to buy it. It actually sold for $25,000 right before I got here. But I tried to buy. I would have gave $25,000-$30,000 because I had the cash. You know, I just left it empty just so I don't have to deal with neighbors, and plus I'd be able to do what the hell I want too, pretty much. But the guy who bought it for 25 sold it for 66. Some Cuban guy bought it down from the Keys. He was going to build on it, but he was an idiot. He didn't know what he was doing. He started bringing in fill and doing all kinds of shit without a permit or anything. He got caught, got big fines, and me and him didn't get along real well. So I think his wife thought, "So we're not living here because that guy's an asshole," meaning me, because I mean I didn't like the guy. I told him, I said, "Dude, I don't like you. I don't really want you living next door to me." He was just one of them kind of guys where, oh, that your telephone pole's on my land. It's going to have to be moved. And I said, "Really?" I says, "What are you going to go down and see Duke Energy and tell them to move my pole off of your land?" First off, it ain't my pole. Yes, it feeds my house, but I don't own the pole. And you can't move it because that's county property. No, it's not. He was a real idiot. But anyway. So he sold it. He found a sucker to buy it for, I think he sold it. No, he sold it for 90. And the guy who bought it from 90 was going to build on it. It's a lousy piece of land because it's cut weird. It's like a upside down L shape. Some of it behind my land. Because I'm on not quite, just under 2 acres. And most of his property's out in the woods. And the actual part that's clear isn't very big. You couldn't put a really huge house on it because of the zoning codes and all that. So anyway, he decided to turn around and sell it. He wants $119 for it. Well, the fucking land ain't worth 25. But he thinks, oh, everything went up in price, I'm going to make big money. Well, he's not going to, So my neighbor says, well, he's going to offer him 25 once prices drop a little bit more. And he says, I have a feeling he's going to take it. I said, what are you going to do? He said, I'll leave it empty just like you want it. And I said, that's fine. He said, if you want, I'll sell it to you. I said, well, I don't have the money. Otherwise, I'd buy it, But that's the way it goes. Let's see. Hey, Chuck Schreiber, how's it going? Good to see you here. Well, just put them up for sale, Jim. No, what's that? My trains? No, not doing that. All right, James. Well, thanks for popping in, man. We'll see you next time. Have a good weekend and take care of that tablet, man. We'll see you next time. All right, Joe. Have fun walking the dog. My dog never likes. He doesn't really like to walk. He has the whole run of the property, so he doesn't really do the walking thing too much. Let's see what else we got going here. His Roy says, if I use containers, I would need 7 40-foot cans. Garage, 3 for the train layout, 2 to live in, 2 for store. Yeah. I mean, if you had the land to put them on, that's actually pretty damn cheap. You could do it. A lot cheaper than building a house. And he said, yes, Jim, it was a parachute mine for maximum surface blast damage. Blew her dress right off. And she didn't get hurt at all. Damn, she's lucky. She had God protecting her ass, man. That's weird. Let's see. Let me try and get caught up here. I'm not too far behind. Gerald says, I have to leave soon. The family's taking me out for dinner for my birthday. Oh, happy birthday, man. I didn't realize. Well, enjoy your dinner with your family, man. Cool. John says, I have a portable sawmill. That would be handy to have. We just cut down a few dead trees here. Well, they weren't really completely dead, but I got a shitload of firewood, though. About 2 cords. Yeah, my neighbor, he went ahead. I loaned him my chainsaw, and he's got a chainsaw, too. And I bought him 2 new chains and got a new chain for mine, so he went to town whacking down all these trees. Then he went and rented a log splitter. So he split all the wood for me. I mean, it's really cool, and I got a shitload of nice wood, man. I gave him some, too, but I have a fireplace. He doesn't, but he does have a fire pit in the backyard, so he says he might use it for that. Let's see. What else we got going here? Yeah, me too, Ray. Actually, I remember 88 cents a piece in Walmart, or not Kmart. No, it wasn't Kmart. It was a lumber yard. Because I remember that was back in like 1973, 74. My dad added on to the house. And it's all cinder block outside concrete, but inside interior walls, he had the Gran Torino station wagon. We loaded that fucking car up with 2x4s. I mean, literally loaded the car. We couldn't fit another one in there. And 88 cents a piece. Even the cinder block he bought for the house was called cracked block. It wasn't good enough for like government buildings, but it was fine. And that was 10 cents a block. Now they're like $1.19 a block in Home Depot. Prices have gotten crazy. Actually, it looks like it's not even plywood. It's that, I think it's particle board. Or something like that. I don't believe it's solid plywood because I put the vinyl down, the linoleum squares. And I'm sure it's just the one sheet. Like I said, there's a little bit of a wave in it when you walk on it. So I'm pretty sure it's probably just 1/2 inch particle board. Now, I won't be using particle board in the expansion. I'll use real plywood, but it'll be 1/2 inch as well. And the nice part is, like I said, it's only 6 foot out. So 3 sheets will take care of it. Because the third sheet will be cut in half. And that'll cover the extra. So it'll work out just fine. And I'll screw everything in anyway. I won't nail it. So it'll be, use the deck screws and it'll be solid. Yeah, that's unfortunately true, 187. The only problem is, I'm going to put up a fight on that one, though, if they decide they really want to go that far. I won't volunteer it, that's for sure. And he said they dug my grandfather out of the latrine still alive, but, oh, man. Sorry to hear that, really am. Hey, Tom Grassi, what's going on, man? Good to see you here. Railwire says, can we get back to trains? Well, yeah, I'm working on it. Like I said, that was mostly what I was talking about. So, so the 40-foot containers are like I said, they're not that expensive, and that really is the way to go if you can, like you said, you got to be good with a torch and welder. If you start connecting them, you're going to have to do some welding and some cutting. Jim, isn't it funny how people move in and try and change everything? Yeah, it's true, unfortunately. Oh, the elevated brackets. Okay. Yeah, I could try that because I got a shitload of them and they're still usable. Maybe somebody could use them. I'll give it a shot when the time comes. That's actually a good idea. Better than throwing them away. And Roy says, woods, cut the trees, use the trees to build a log cabin and pole. Yeah, that's true. You could. Remember Builder's Square? Yes, I do, actually. Got to get the wackos out of the government, yeah, without a doubt. So, anyway, get back to what I was talking about. So, basically, going to build the framework, print the brackets, the ones I just showed you, hang everything up there. So I figured out that they have to be approximately 18.5 inches from the top of the shelf with the foam, from the very top of the foam to the top of the bottom level, based on six loops or 6 levels of the helix. That's what they claim anyway. And like I said, I can make a minor adjustment if I had to on the riser. So, like I said, they're not going to be screw and nut because that's a pain in the ass. And I'd probably wind up throwing everything out in the damn road. So, these will just slide in, glue them in place, good to go. Like I said, if I have to raise or lower a few millimeters or whatever, I could custom make a riser for it the problem solved. So I know you came in late, Tom Grassi, but yeah, the only problem with that, Roy, is it'd be really heavy as shit. I don't think it's necessary. Oh, you mean the floor? Yeah, I could do the floor in 3/4, and that would save a lot of problems. But like I said, I think the fact that I'm going to screw it in will probably take some of the wave out of it anyway. This one's not screwed in. I would go so far as to say they probably glued it, because I didn't see any screws or nails on the floor at all. You know, the bare floor. So I don't know. Like I said, it all depends. And like I said, a lot of it's got to do with money too. You know. Now, if I get 3/4 inch plywood for just a few dollars more than half inch, absolutely. But if it's going to be twice the price, then not happening. Let's see. Real Artist says, I'm moving my layout from a 27 by 31 half basement to a 9 by 28 house trailer for the time being. Then, yeah, there you go. That'll work too. Well, yeah, I mean, it's a way to do it, but it's a real pain in the ass. I mean, the reality of it, you know. Like I said, I'm at that age where I don't want to work hard, I want to work smart. Which kind of relate, you know, it means I'm lazy a little bit, but I don't want to have to deal with horse shit. I just want to be able to boom, 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 slam it together, know it's 100% right, you know, and I'll be good to go. So like I said, I have all the dimensions that I need to build the thing. That includes the actual circumference, inner and outer. It's going to be, so I was originally going to use 26 radius track, but I can't find any. The only thing that comes in 26-degree radius is the track with the built-in road bed on it, like Waller's or Cato, and I think there's another one. And I don't really want that, because then I have to go even higher, because actually the track sits about this high, almost, yeah, about 3/4 of an inch off the base. And you don't need road bed on a helix. You just don't need it. I mean, it's going to be out there. I'm not going to hear it anyway, you know. So I'm not worried about noise too much. But, what the hell was I getting at here? I forgot, I lost my train of thought. It derailed. Hey, when that happens. What the hell was I going to say? So, to keep it simple and keep it so where it's easy to build, I decided to do it the same way that the Scenic Place builds theirs. I'm just using a different material. Now, they're using gator board, which is nothing more than poster board. I mean, it really is. It's foam poster board. It's about an 1/8 inch thick. You know, because it's saying, well, you know, if you have problems screwing the riser, just collapse it with your fingers and then push the riser in there. So it's foam, you know. Now, Tom Grassley has that, and it works great for him. He's not having any issues at all. And he's got what? How many levels you got, Tom? I think like what, 20? And I know you got a lot, because you're feeding 3 levels. So anyway, I'm going to be looking at, with 6 levels, I'm looking at approximately 18.5 inches to the top of the second level from the top of the bottom level. And that'll be just fine. Like I said, if I have to, I can adjust the riser, give or take a few millimeters, you know, print it differently. It won't cost me but probably about 20 to 25 cents to print a riser. And I don't know how many I'll need, but at that price, no big deal, you know. So that's kind of the plan. Let's see. Sparky was selling your chair to Heath. Yeah. Well, that's a nice chair too, and I love that chair. I'm gonna get one for here. I told you I got this cheapo one from Temu. Paid $61 for it. If it still lasts 6 months, that's all I need. Once I pay off the other, because I bought it on time payments, Once I pay off the other one, which was a little over 800 bucks, I'm going to buy another one for here. But I bought the heavy duty big man's chair for in there because, you know, fat. But this is just a regular size chair and I fit just fine in it. I just can't really get real comfortable in it. So I'm going to get the regular chair, Secret Lab chair that Sparky's pushing. And it's only around $400 for the normal size one. So I'm going to get one from here and just keep this one as a spare, you know, for a guest or whatever. Because the other two chairs, they were shot. I mean, I can't sit in them. I mean, the one was leaning, and, you know, they're very uncomfortable, hard as a rock. So, I can't, I mean, they are good chairs. They're worth the money. But it is a hell of a lot. I mean, 800 bucks for a chair, you know. But it comes with a 5-year warranty. I mean, they cover everything, you know. And it's a damn nice chair. The thing is, you can fix parts like the armrest, they're magnetic, they pop off. So if you ruin an armrest or something happens to it, you could buy a new pair, I think, for 40 bucks. They pop right on, they're magnetic and interchangeable. So that's really cool. You can get different colors, different styles, you know. And if the chair itself, if the material goes bad, they actually have zippered covers that go on there that are just like the original, you know. So they call them skins. I think a skin is $60 for, maybe it was $150. I don't know. It was $60 or $150 for a top and bottom skin. So it's a good deal. Tom Grassi says, Jim, Home Depot 1/2-inch 4x8 plywood. Yeah, I know, it's 45. Oh, it's only $5 more? Yeah, I'll probably go with the 3/4 then. It's only $5. I ain't gonna worry about it. It's only 73 sheets. So you're looking at $15. Big deal, you know. I didn't check the 3/4, but thank you for doing that for me. Because I was just gonna get half, you know, for the floor. But yeah, 3/4 would be better. I'll tell you, I had 1/2-inch plywood on the ramp out here to go outside. I got a ramp that goes down. The flat section in front of the door, it completely rotted out on me. So I took some of the 3/4 plywood I had on the second level. It was the right depth. And I cut a 45-inch wide piece, and I got to screw it down yet, but I threw it on there, and that solved that problem. Because I don't know why, but I paid a handyman to make that whole ramp for me. It cost me 800 bucks, you know. And I'm kind of pissed off because I thought I got ripped off on it. And I supplied all the wood. But he put, it's a 2x6 frame on the landing, and then 2x6 for the downward ramp, you know, for the sides. So instead of putting, he should have said, I didn't even think about it, I should have put 3/4-inch plywood on top of the 2x6s. Instead, he's got brackets and, you know, braces in there, and he laid the 1/2-inch plywood on top of the braces, but there's only 2 braces on the landing, and they're on the inside of the 2x6. So they started rotting, and I mean, if I step in the wrong place, I'm going right through, you know. So I went ahead and cut it the same width as the 2x6s. So it's now sitting on the 2x6s on the landing. And like I said, I have to do is screw it down or nail it. It doesn't matter which. Throw some paint on it. I'm good to go, you know. But I had to put it on there today because, I mean, I went down and locked the door. I thought for sure I was going to put a foot through the landing, you know. And I said, we don't want to go there. So, yeah. But yeah, you're right, though. I mean, both you and Roy are right about the 3/4-inch floor. Definitely the way to go. And like I said, for a few dollars, it's worth it. Tom says, I've got 14 levels on your Helix. It must have cost you a lot of money because I looked at mine, 6 levels. With the risers and a couple of straight sections. I'm looking at over 600 bucks. For a 26-inch, or 28-inch radius, right? No, 26-inch radius. But nobody makes a 26-inch radius track except for the unit track with the built-in road bed, and I didn't want to spend the money, and that's ridiculously expensive too. So I decided to go with 24-degree radius And, Atlas makes 24-degree radius curves. So I'll get, because I didn't want to use flex either. Because I remember you said you had a lot of problems with flex. And that's fine because I'm not going to be putting anything really huge up there. I mean, even my steamer will run on, I was designed to run on 18. It'll run on 24 with no problem. So that's the way I'm going to go with that. But yeah, just the Helix itself would have cost me over $600 if I went with the Scenic Designs or whatever the hell it's called. I said, that's just too much money. If I had it, it'd be a different story. But like I said, I'm really getting down to brass tacks here on budgeting. So to save money, I'm going to use the hardwood fiber board and just cut it myself and make it. It's not a big deal. It'll be just as good as what they use, and technically stronger, but it'll be a little heavier. That's the only difference. What we got there? Oh yeah, he does have an awesome Helix. It looks nice. But like I said, he must have spent a fortune on it. 187 says HO scale. They got 2 cartons of eggs, 3 2x4s, 4 sheets of plywood, and half a gallon of gas, and a roll of paper towels. Y'all were doing good. Have you say so? And Roy says, I'm still waiting for my creeper chair from Temu, shipping from Japan, I think. This one I bought from Temu, the one I'm sitting on now, and that was a U.S. warehouse. I got this thing in 6 days, and it was free shipping, of course, either way. But that was what I was concerned with. How could they sell me a chair for $61? It's a gaming chair, and it has a vibrating thing on it too. The lumbar support plugs in the USB port, and it vibrates. So I would use. I mean, I've tried it to make sure it works, but I don't really use it. But how you could sell that for $61, and it seemed like it would cost that much just to ship the damn thing. So I don't know. Let's see. Anybody in my neighborhood? Free eggs, got too many. Yeah, I got tons of eggs. They got chickens here. So John says we have 14 laying hens up the farm. Dave's, yeah, I say, well, we've got 19 hens here. 19 hens and 2 roosters. So they're all laying, well, except for the roosters. All the hens are laying. So we literally get 14 eggs or 19 eggs a day. And all the people that say, yeah, I'll take them, then they don't. I don't know why. I mean, my neighbor takes them for his dad because his dad loves eggs in the morning. But my neighbors across the street, I have 2 neighbors there. They say, yeah, we'll take them. And I said, I got eggs for you. Ready for them? Oh, no, I'm not ready for them yet. And the one lady said, well, I'm on a weird diet and I can't eat eggs. So I'm going, okay, well, that sucks. So, but Deb will actually, she scrambles the eggs and then feeds them back to the chickens. It's not really cannibalism, even though it kind of feels like it would be. But, and it's actually good for the chickens because there's a hell of a lot of protein in an egg. So, and they love them. Hey, Crooked River and Easter, Dave, how's it going? Oh, there's no problem. There's no such thing as late here. And you get here when you get here. Although you did miss a lot of the conversation. We were talking about my layout, future plans, and what I'm doing, and all kinds of good stuff. You might have to go back and hit the replay to check some of it. And I'm a little behind. I'm actually picking up your bad habits, which I think were originally my bad habit that you got from me. And now I got it back from you. I was going to do that, Roy, and Tom said he tried it and he had a lot of problems with it. I use code 100 here anyway. And I have plenty of track, believe it or not. I probably have enough left over to do Helix. But I want my curves to be perfect. And it's not always easy to do. I mean, I've got the track gauge. But those things, they're only short. They're like, I don't know why they don't make one that's like 3 foot long. That would be the way to do it, And then glue it in place before you set the track, glue the sleepers, ties. So just to save problems, I'm just going to go with, pre-made curves. It's not really expensive. It's about the same price. So not a big deal. Dave says 22 Hensons and 3 ducks. That's a lot of birds. Hey Les, we us and company, man. How's it going? Haven't heard from you in a long time. How you doing down there, man? Dave says we can start over for. Well, we'll think about that one. Dave says, nope, you need to repeat your whole conversation. Oh, I could gloss over some of it. Let's see, I'm behind again. I tell you, it's not hard to get behind. I was doing so good for a long time here. I knew I shouldn't have made fun of you this morning, Dave. As soon as I opened up my mouth, if you know it's going to come back and bite me in the ass, and damn if it didn't. Yeah, well, it happens. Hey, Joe's back. Have a good walk with the dog, I hope. No, I don't feed cow manure to the chickens, just their own eggs. That we buy the chicken feed from, Tractor Supply, and they eat all the bugs and stuff. We let them free range a little bit sometimes. We have crows here and hawks. They'll eat the chickens, and there's other sort of animals that would eat them too. So we have to really watch them closely when we let them out. But yeah, they'll peck around on the ground, get all kinds of good stuff. So let's see. Les says, been busy, mate. Met Anthony Dodge and Joyce at Artie's. Oh, cool. Yeah, I imagine Artie's having a field day. So anyway, so I was talking about my overhead rail, Dave. I made new supports for them because I decided to lower the whole thing. So I made these supports. They're a little cleaner than what I had, and this is what I had here. That was the thin ones, and this was to go over both mains. So I'm putting it in front of the main rails so that it won't, because I thought it was real kind of a pain in the ass to have them over the main anyway. So they're designed to fit perfectly over here. This is the trestle, and the track will sit on the top. So I lowered it quite a bit, almost 3 inches, or no, yeah, about 3 inches I lowered it, because it was really too high. I mean, in scale, it was probably 4 stories off the ground. Now it's probably closer to 2.5. So I thought that was kind of something I needed to do. And like I said, I'm going to put it on the inside or in front of the 2 main rails. So it'll be away from it, but it'll still look good. And of course, I told you the other couple weeks back that the terminal, I took it off the drop down, and it's going to be permanently fixed on the left side. Like I said, it'll be a little bit lower anyway, so I've got to redo the supports for all that stuff, which is no big deal. Just print them up. As far as that's really the only thing that's really going to change on the lower level, other than the fact that on the right-hand side, I took off the ramp, and the whole second level's gone now, so everything's level the table. So I've got a big area here on the right-hand side, that unused real estate. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a highway down there and some background factories and stuff like that. I'll maybe print some and buy some other background buildings. Have a highway in front of it, and then scenic out the rest. I'm not going to put rail down there because it's too far in. It's hard to reach. So if a train derails or something, I'd have to struggle to get to it. Rather keep my tracks close to the front. So that's going to change, like I said. But other than that, everything else is going to stay the same for the most part on the low level. I am going to clean up some stuff, make some minor changes in the way buildings are set and stuff. The second level will be approximately, it'll be 18.5 inches high at the top of it from the bottom. Now I'm using 1x3 wood. Going to build a framework all the way around. but it's only 2.5 inches tall. Actually, it'll be 3.5 with the foam because I don't have to put any plywood on top of it because it's only going to be 18 inches deep on the left wall. It may only be 14 or 16 on the right wall, and probably the same on the back wall. So it's just not, because like I said, I'm kind of setting it up for what I want to do with it rather than, what I might do down the road. I figure I'm going to set this up. It's going to be a set way to put things, and that's where it's going to be, and that'll be fine. There won't be a third level ever, that I'm sure of. So I think 2 levels is plenty. And because, like I said, it's going to be 18.5 inches tall at the very top of it. It's not too tall that I can't see it, because I'm not 6 foot tall. I'm 5'6". So I'll have plenty of room underneath. I'll have the LED light strips underneath. The one that changes colors. I already have one. I'll get more for it. And so I can light that up. But there'll be a lot more room. Like I said, you're going to have, what is it, the 18.5. That's 18.5 right there. So you're probably going to be around 16 inches from the floor, from the top of the lowered level. That's a lot of room. It's going to give me more light in there. I'll have more room to do other things. That's fine. I could go higher, but I don't feel a need to. And that's using a six level helix outside, so we'll see. What did I miss here? Dave says, we have birds wandering all over the property and even trespassing a bit into the neighbors. Oh, yeah, imagine. Like I said, I don't have any fencing here, so they stay pretty much in this area near their coops. Like they haven't gone out like in the back 9 or anything, which is kind of surprising. I guess there's enough bugs in the ground to keep them occupied close to their coops. And all Deb has to do is shake some food in the coop and they come running, they go right back in, and everything is good. Hey, Carolina Foothills Railroad, how you doing? Good to see you here. Randall Ellison, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a long time either. Good to see you, Randall. It jumped on me again. Train Mail and Nikki, I haven't sent out your thing yet, but I did design a bucket for that tractor. It's not real, it's not real high tech or anything. Here, I installed it on this ready built one. Let me change the camera so you'll get a better view of it. It's not too bad. Like I said, it's not fancy, but it'll work. So I'll include that with your prize. Might even throw a couple of them in there in case you have any issues with it, but I will get that nailed out for sure Monday morning. So I haven't forgotten you. I had to design it, print it, and cure it and all that. And I think I got it finished like 2 days ago. And I got sidetracked. You know how that works. But I haven't forgotten. Good one, Mickey. I was driving down the road and saw a hitchhiker. He was carrying a sign saying heaven, so I hit him. Sent him right to heaven, did you? That's cool. Jeez. 187 says, gotta get on down the line, Jim. Got a Civic Current build. It should be dry. May angels watch over you all while you sleep. Well, thank you, man. Same to you. And you have a good and safe weekend, and we'll see you next week, hopefully. Good night. Let's see what else we got here. I can't believe I keep getting behind. Not too terribly bad, though. Hey, Russ is rocking O and HO trains and stuff. How you doing, Russ? Good to see you. So, anyway, like I was saying, the bottom's not going to be too much different. The top, I'm doing 1x3 framework. There's going to be roughly 22-foot length on this left wall. I'm not sure how far I'm going to go on the right wall yet. It'll probably be between 16 and 18 foot in length. I don't want to bring it all the way forward. And then 12 foot on the back wall, or just under 12 foot. So I'm going to print up my own brackets. And I already set up the brackets right here. This is the STL file. And these are 20 millimeters by 20 millimeters thickness. And 10 inches on the top and 10 inches on the bottom. And then the brace in the middle. There's holes for the screws. I put 2 holes in the center brace so I can get to the top holes for the screws. And I figure they're going to be pretty damn strong. I don't foresee having any problems with them. I could probably print them up for about 25 to 50 cents each. And of course, it'll take time to print them all, but that's no big deal. I'll save money on the cost of brackets. Like I said, I built this tiny bracket as a brace for one of the floating shelves. And I mean, this thing's, it's strong. And this is tiny. This is 10 millimeters wide by 4 millimeters thick. So you bring that 20 by 20, you ain't breaking that thing. And they'll be screwed right into the studs behind the wall. I think the studs are on 16 inches, I think. It's 16 or 14. I have to double check. So I'll screw in every stud. And set my framework on top of that, screw it to the framework. And of course, the frames also have center braces in there to strengthen it up, not make it too heavy. And then I'm just going to put 1-inch pink foam right on the top, glue it to the wood. Don't need plywood or anything like that up there, because it's only going to be 18 inches deep on this wall. It'll be a little less depth on the back wall and the side wall there. And with braces 14, 16 inches apart, you're not going to have any flex in the foam at all. Like I said, not going to be a whole lot of weight up there anyway. So, because like my bench work here, I've got 1/4-inch plywood on the top of this. Everything's framed out with 2x4s, right? No, 2x4 on the back wall and 1x4s on the front, and then 1x4 bracing I think every foot or 2 foot. It's very rigid. I could walk on it with no problem. Even my big fat ass will still walk on it without breaking anything. And of course, I got 2x4 cantilevers mounted right to the studs in the wall. So there's nothing actually on the floor except for this little addition here. Everything else is off the floor. So it's going to work out well. I won't, like I said, I won't have a whole lot of money tied up in it. And it'll be strong enough to support whatever I put up there. I figure these brackets that I'm making will probably easily support probably 40 pounds each. But there ain't going to be nowhere near that on there. So, and it'll actually be way cheaper than me to buy metal brackets, which, and they're kind of ugly anyway. I mean, these may not be exactly, they're not showroom things, but they're still, I could paint them blue so they'll blend in with the wall. And you may not see them that much. So who knows? We'll see. Let's see, what did I miss here? Oh, you like that? Okay, that's cool, Nikki. I'm glad you like it. It looks good. Like I said, it's not 100% prototypical, but it'll work. Let's see. Roy said I couldn't do 2 levels. The spacing between levels would be 3 feet. My container cranes are going to be 2.5 foot tall. Oh yeah. You wouldn't be able to see the top. You'd have to step on a ladder, right? Yeah, I could see where that might be an issue. Andy says, one level is enough unless someone has eyes up there. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, a lot of guys are doing multiple levels because of lack of real estate, you know. Um, Tom Grassi has 3, technically 4, if you count the subway. Uh, Dave Thurber's got, I think he's got 3 altogether. And I'm going to stop at 2, though. I'm not going to do anything more than 2. I mean, at one point, I said, yeah, maybe down the road a 3rd one, but no. I'm going to keep it right at 2. That's fine, you know. And he says, I have enough trouble keeping up with what's going on. I went, oh, that's true, too. That's another issue, you know. But see, I'm not going to have a loop on the top. So the top is mostly going to be for switching, for picking up and dropping off rail cars. You know, at least some industry up there. But the loop is going to be on a lower level. So, because I could probably do a loop on the 2nd level, but it would be complicated. Because it'd have to be a duck under. And I could see myself smacking my head and not paying attention. So I'm not going to do a loop on the top. I don't see a need for it, you know. So if something comes up down the road, maybe. But at this particular point in time, no. We're just going to, it's mostly be for switching on the top. Damn, this thing keeps jumping like that. Tom says, Jim, I would put 1/4-inch plywood up on the 2nd level. What if you need to put something under the level for controls on that level screwing into the phone? Well, I could do that with bracing. So, like, if I needed to put, and there will be turnouts like over here where the staging yard is. Now, I could put 1-bys where I need to mount the tortoises or whatever I decide to use for the turnouts, and that'll solve that problem. Now also, there's another thing. Now, Tom from Tom's Trains and Things, he mounted his tortoises or his servos right into foam, and they work just fine. So I'm not too worried about it. Like I said, I really didn't want to put any wood on the top because of the added weight. And because it's really, really not necessary. Any lighting or anything like that I do can screw through the foam won't be a problem. Because anything I have on liner is all screwed. Like all my lighting down here, crossing gates, all that stuff is all in the foam anyway. So we're not even using, it's not even hitting the wood. So it's not really an issue. Russ says, that is where the filament shines its strength. Your bracket application is where the lines don't matter. Awesome. Yeah, well, that's true. That's why I said it didn't make sense to buy metal ones when I could print my own. So, damn it, it jumped on me. How is that thing quit doing that? Well, no, I won't be able to walk on. Not on the 2nd level. On this level, I could walk. If I get up there, I can walk on it. I've actually sat on it. And it didn't break or bow or anything. So I have a lot of faith in the bottom level. The top, no, it wouldn't support my weight. But it's not designed to. So, you know. And like I said, I wanted it where standing up, I could easily see and reach in toward the wall if I had to grab something. So I'm kind of building it within my physical limitations, I should say. Hey, Ken Amos, haven't seen you in a while either. How you doing, man? Good to see you here. Thomas, you can always cut foam and put blocks of wood in or drill and dowel. That's true, where you need to attach something. That's on my buddy's layout. Well, that's what Tom from Tom's Trains, he does that too. So he says if you do need any bracing, you could mount the a brace in the framework underneath the foam, and then do what you got to do. So there's lots of ways around. It's not a problem. Like I said, it really does come down to, unfortunately, I'm tight on the cash. You know, if I had more money, I don't even know if I still would put more than I actually need. But because I don't have money, that's just the way it's going to be. I thought you had 3, Dave. Don't you have a mid-level between the bottom and the top, like a ramp up or something? I mean, that doesn't really count, I guess, but either way, you know. Let's see. This thing's got, this thing works weird sometimes. Carolina says the third will be O scale loop. Okay. Like up near the ceiling. I know a lot of guys do that. I thought about doing that. I said, nah, screw it. I ain't gonna do it. Dave says, my upper level is all 1x2s and half-inch plywood. I was looking at 1x2s because they're a lot cheaper, but what material was it? Was it, I know they got the good stuff. Like I said, I saw 1x2s here for, $443 for an 8-footer. But, the thickness is only actually 1.5 inches because you never get what they say. But I think it was white pine or something, like, or kiln dried pine. And I still may do that too. I don't know. I'll find out tomorrow when I go down there to buy the wood. I mean, it would be a lot cheaper. It's $2 and change cheaper than the 1x3s. But I used 1x3 on my drop down. But like I said, that's actually only 2.5 inches thick. It's not 3. I don't know why they call them. They should call it 1x2.5. And the 1x2 should be called 1x1.5 because that's what it fucking is. It seems like every so many years the wood gets smaller and smaller. How long has it been since a 2x4 was actually 2x4? Not about 40 years. I mean, now they're like what, 1 3/4 by 3 3/4, something like that. I mean, they're not true 2x4s, so it's kind of bullshit when you get down to it. Talk about shrinkflation, huh? Yeah, that's true, Dave. We could do that too. Insert plywood underneath, either plywood or, like I said, just a bracing, a 1x3 brace. You could either glue it up there or screw it in from the sides of the supports. And there you go. Then you got something solid to mount to if you want to go that route. So there's lots of ways to go around it without doing the plywood. Like I said, I use 1/4-inch plywood on the deck of the whole lower level. And I can walk on it. It won't flex at all. I put 1-inch foam on top of that. We're good to go. So like I said, I'm looking at the second level. You're not going to have the weight that you have on the lower level. And that's the big thing right there, I think. Yeah, well, I looked at that too. I sort of already had that because the original overhead terminal was the second level, and it raised up with the first. I actually set it up that way. It worked, but as I said, it was only about 7 inches. Well, whatever the height of this was, so it wasn't that tall. I mean, the height wouldn't matter, but I really just don't want to go there. I mean, if I had to, I would, but right now at present, I'm thinking no, probably not. And even then, what I might do on that is I might actually have it suspended from the ceiling on a motor, So it'd be like a powered lift up. So when I want to walk under, I hit a button and it goes up so I don't have to do a duck under thing. Who knows? You never know what I might pull off down the road. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. The mid-levels to climb up to level 2. Because I know I saw something in between there, your ramp. I guess I kind of counted as a level, even though it really isn't. Roy says, I'm behind a houseboat with 4 outboard motors. Well, Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's probably looking at about $40,000 worth of motors right there. Maybe more. It's got them big 300, 400 horse motors on their big Johnsons. Man, those are some crazy motors. Tom says, I used the 1x4, which is only 2 3/4 by 3. Yeah, like I said, it's, Dave says, just a cheap pine. So far, no issues. I'm going to look at it tomorrow because, like I said, I did all my shopping, price-wise. I was price shopping online. So when I get down there tomorrow, I'll look and see what there is. If the 1x2s look good, they're good and straight and solid, no knots or anything, that's what I'll buy. If not, I'll stick with the 1x3. But the 1x2s would be lighter, and of course, weight's always something to consider, so we'll see. Dave says 3/4 by 1.5. Yeah, there you go. So I said it's. Tom says I meant 3/4 by 3. There you go. That's what I'm saying. You never actually get what you think you're getting. Even the plywood's the same way. It's hard to find 1/2-inch plywood. Now it's 11/32, which is just under a half, I guess. I mean, it looks like half to me, but I'm sure it's not. And this is what they're doing. They go, well, we'll keep the price high, but we'll shave it down. They won't notice. Yeah, bullshit. We won't notice. Joe says 1x2 or 1x3 are only three. That's true. 3/4 inch thick. That's true. Like I said, you're standing them up though, so you don't have to worry about flex too much. And there'll be brackets, like I said, every 14 or 16 inches. So you got plenty of support underneath to keep it from bowing or flexing at all. So I'm not worried about that. Now, if you want to lay it flat, that would be a problem. But they'll be standing up and basically build a box with braces in between it. So the braces will be either every 12 inches or every 14 inches. I haven't decided yet. Probably be every 14, on center 14 or 16. So it'll made up with the studs behind the wall. Because you have to have a plate way to hook up the brackets. So we'll see. Mickey said it was 107 today. Yeah, I don't doubt that. It actually hit 100 here on the thermometer. I didn't look at I don't even pay attention to the feel like temperature. They probably said it. I don't know. It shows it was 100. Like I said, I didn't look at the feel like temperature, but I go by my thermometer. It says 100, it's 100. If it says 105, it's 105. I don't really give a damn what they say on the news. We got a little bit of rain too. Not much, just a little tiny bit. Just enough to, piss you off a little bit. That's about it. Not enough to do any good though. Dave says mid 70s and dropping in the 50s tonight. Well, lucky you. That's the funny. It'll drop down to 68 to 70 at night here. It doesn't get any colder anymore. For a while it was getting a little bit lower, but right now about 68, 69 throughout the night. Let's say from about 10 o'clock on. Right now it's 76 right now. So it's steadily coming down. But during the day, it's brutal. I mean, not so much here because we have trees and breeze and all that. But if you go downtown, it's brutal. Andy says 90 degrees would do me okay, please. That's too hot, man. And he said, for me, 78's a perfect temperature. If it's a little lower, that's fine, but I don't really want it to be any higher. Carolina says 64 was when a 2x4 became 1.5x3. Is it really? Okay, was that far ago? I don't pay much attention, but I know it was a long time. And because I actually, where the hell was I? I think it was in an old house. They were doing some renovation. And the guy was saying, yeah, these are real 2x4 studs. And son of a bitch, they were. I think it was back from like the 50s, though. It was an old house. Pretty cool, though. Yeah, actually Lowe's is right across the street from Home Depot, but Lowe's is usually more expensive than Home Depot. Not always, but the wood is iffy. It's really close. I mean, there's not much of a difference to make the effort to go across the street. I actually used to prefer Lowe's over Home Depot, but I'll see. Like you said, maybe in the morning I'll do a quick check and see what the wood cost at each store online, and If Lowe's is cheaper, I'll just go there. You know, it don't matter to me. Not really. Russ says, just went out to move my truck, cop cars in front of my house. All right, what did you do? Yeah, that's never a good thing when the cops are in front of your house. John Nippenberg says, I think they mill it to true size in the... That's possible. I have no idea. I know a lot of it's, kiln dried, so I'm sure it does shrink to some degree, but that's an awful lot, though. I'm thinking it's more or less just shrinkflation, but who knows? Kent says, being a cabinet maker, I'm making my 1x3 stock from poplar. It has some good wood, but kind of pricey. But it's quality wood, though. It's a nice hardwood, I looked at that. I think it was like $12 a stick down here. I'm thinking, oh, shit, man. I'd go broke real quick just doing one wall. Dave says, yeah, I had to pick through them, Jim, to find straight pieces. Well, like I said, I'll look, and if there's some straight stuff, I'll do it, but it doesn't matter too much. I mean, the price differences, the 1x3 is $66.50 for the left wall 10 sticks, and the 1x2 is only $40.87 for 10 sticks. So there isn't that much of a price difference. Now there they have the fairing strips, 1x3, but they're going to suck. They're only $2.47 for a stick. But I imagine they got knots in them. They're fucking wavy and everything else. I said, no, we're not going to go with that. I want some decent wood to put up there. It's got to be straight. So we'll see. That's true, Dave. It is good for painting. Of course, I won't be painting the wood. I will be putting the fiberboard skirting around it. It'll be a little bit lower so I can hide the LEDs under it. So, and that's, like I said, that stuff is cheap, so that's cool. Hey, Iron Horse Model Railroad, Brian, right, I think? I'm not sure. I'm bad with names, so if I got your name wrong, sorry. Anyway, good to see you here. And let's see what's going on. Hey, Jim, hello to everybody in chat. Sorry, streaming during your time, Jim. I've been out of the loop. Well, no problem. No biggie. Glad you're here. That's all that matters. Yeah, it is Brian. I'm getting better at the names. Sometimes I get it right. Sometimes, on a rare occasion, I do get it wrong. Let's see. Container Man says, Roy says, buy 3/4 inch plywood, strip cut to 3 inches wide, then glue 2 strips together, perfect table leg. Straight and strong, or buy furniture grade birch for a better quality table. That's true. I'm probably going to use legs for the helix. The benches will still probably be cantilevered because it works for me. The nice thing about the cantilever is I can slide my chair under there without hitting any legs, Because even my desk here is cantilevered too. But the helix, it doesn't matter, so I'll probably use legs. I like that idea. I may do that. Thanks for that info. Kent says poplar in rough form isn't expensive. Dimensional, everything here, and it comes out cheaper than HR. Really? Huh. That's the one thing I don't. I don't know where the hell the lumber yards are. I've never seen one. I'm sure there's one somewhere, but I've not seen it. I mean, pretty much anything you need is either Home Depot or Lowe's. And we have an Ace Hardware too, but I wouldn't attempt to buy anything from Ace Hardware because they're just crazy price. But as far as the wood goes, though, I'm sure, like I said, I know there's a lumber yard somewhere, but it may not even be in Sebring. It might be in one of the other towns. So I'm not going to worry about it. I mean, I figured I'd spend more in gas than I would just paying a little bit extra for the local wood. So, we'll see. Anyway, I guess I can close this off. So that's the plan. like I said, it's mostly going to be industry on the second level on the left side. The right side will be a staging area. And the back probably just probably 2 tracks just to get across. I'm not sure yet on that. I may put some industry on the back wall too. Vicky said, I saw a pretty girl with dimples the other day, but then suddenly I thought maybe she was shot in the face with a BB gun. That's terrible, man. Funny, but terrible. Hey, Grandpa Rails, JD, how's it going, man? And Ken says, you have to remember I'm buying 1,000 board at a time, so oh yeah, that's true. I'm not going to be buying anything near that. Now, I want to build a couple more layouts. Yeah, when you buy bulk, it does make a difference. Russ says, I get my lumber at our local lumber store. Any savings I get at Home Depot is muted out by the gas cost in my truck. Home Depot is 7 miles away. Lumber store, yeah, definitely lumber store is cheaper. Well, that's true too. The local, yeah, usually the lumber yards have better stuff because, you know, I swear that Lowe's and Home Depot, they buy like the shit that the lumber yard can't buy or can't sell. You know, here you go, here's the cheaper. Because, you know, the prices are fairly similar. I mean, not 100%, but like I said, it's $373 for an 8-foot 2x4 in Home Depot, and I think Lowe's is the same price. That's for yellow pine. If you went to the lumber yard, you might be able to get it for $350. I don't know, but you're going to get better wood because a lot of the wood in Home Depot and Lowe's is warped, knotted up. You really got to dig through the shit to get decent wood out of it. You know, I bought, was it 12 2x4s a couple weeks ago because I was kicking around starting the outside wall, but we'll do the floor instead, so I got to get more. But I got lucky. I was able, there was only 2 boards that I had to put back because they were severely warped. And the other ones that I got are all dead straight, no knots. So I got lucky, you know. But sometimes, I mean, they got literally shit, you know. Oh, that's linear feet, okay, or board foot. So, yeah, it's, you know, nothing's cheap no matter what you do. But you can save money here and there, you know, especially like I said, myself, I'm on a fixed income. I got a very small budget for this stuff. You know, I mean, there's a million things I need to do. Well, maybe not a million, but a lot of stuff that needs to be done around the house. Still got to fix the air conditioner in my car. I have all the stuff to do it. I just don't have the willpower to get out of my back and get underneath the damn thing to pull the compressor down. But, you know, like I said, I'm kind of like, you know, just kind of picking and choosing what I want to play with right now. And for some reason, I got a rush of adrenaline, I guess you can call it, to work on the inside. Because I've been talking about this now for, what, a few months? And you guys are probably thinking, this guy's full of shit, he's never going to do anything. And I was starting to think that too. I said, damn, I'm not going to get anything done unless I do something, you know. So I just kind of kicked myself in the ass and said, you know what, you got to quit fucking around here and get something done. So I did. I took the plunge, and I said, once you start, you're committed, you know. At least I am anyway. And from there, it was kind of full speed ahead. So as long as I got that thinking going on right now and that resolution, I'm going to keep moving as much as I can. And hopefully I'll be able to, once I finish the second level, you know, as far as the wood goes, then I want to jump on outside and get started on the floor, eventually the walls and the ceiling and the roof, and, you know, knock it all out. It's going to take time, I realize, but if I start on it, I'll be looking at it and I'm going, you know what, I can't leave it half-assed, you know. Once I start something, I don't always do it, but I like to finish it. You know, especially if it's obviously, and, you know, it's like, if I go out there and I got the floor down, and I'm thinking, you know, I can't just leave that like that forever. I mean, I'll put a tarp over it to protect it from the weather until it's, you know, the walls are up and the roof and all, but I'm gonna be looking at that and going, you know what? I gotta do the walls next. Then when I get the wall, you know, the studs up for the walls, all the framework. I gotta do the ceiling now, or the roof, you know. So that's my motivation to get things done. Yes, it will take time, but I'll have the wherewithal to actually get things done. And that's what I needed. That's what I was lacking up until lately. So, you know. Let's see, did I miss anything? Roy says, don't buy anything that stands up on end or anything that's outside. Outside, yeah, that's true. I know that. Thanks for that info, though. Well, that's the one nice thing about Home Depot or Lowe's. Most of their lumber's inside. So, and it's kind of temperature controlled, so it's usually not bad. You know, like I said, you'll get some bad stuff in there. You got to sort through it. I mean, a lot of their plywood is warped for some reason. I don't know why. I mean, it's not a big deal because you're going to nail. I screw everything, but that didn't sound right, did it? I use deck screws, the faster. I'm not a big nail person. So, you know, if it's screwed to the studs, you know, if it was warped, that ain't no more. So I don't really worry about that too much. But when your framework's got to be straight though, because if that ain't, nothing else will be. Roy says, I'm going to use aluminum for my train tables with blue insulation board. That'll be cool. Neat idea. Never thought of that. And yeah, JD's right. It'd be very lightweight. Dave wants to know if you'll be welding the aluminum. Hey, you could. Either weld it or rivet it, one or the other. And no, I have not had any shrinkage with the foam. Well, you should. The foam I don't really see a problem with. Like I said, the track you're going to have expansion and contraction depending on the temperatures. I had a problem down there where one of the turnouts is halfway down on this side. It contracted so much that it actually lifted up the track. So I'm going to take that turn. I don't need to turn out there anymore anyway. Take the turnout out and cut a slightly smaller piece of track. So there's a little tiny gap in there, maybe 0.5 millimeter to pick up for expansion and contraction. So that's the only thing I've really had a problem with. I mean, I've been lucky pretty much everywhere else. And James is back. All right, James. James says, I left Jim running. Well, we were mostly talking about trains, though, too. So, you know, you might have missed out on some actual train talk there, right? That's another thing, too, you know? Now, you guys know that I like to talk about all kinds of shit on my shows, but we're lacking on train talk, you know? This is going to give me something to talk about for the foreseeable future. So hopefully every week I'll have something different to show off, something different to talk about. Because I know a lot of you guys come here specifically for train talk. Some of y'all come here because you don't really care. We'll talk about anything, and we still can to a point, but still it's nice once in a while just to talk about trains, you know. So that's my kind of my gig going now, but like I said, I've still got cleanup to do here. I got most of the background off. There's a couple pieces right about there I gotta take off the wall. And there's a couple of scrap pieces on this side I gotta take off. I did drop the foam buildings. They were actually glued to the wall. So once I get that cleaned up, I'll glue them back to the wall, but down low. Because they were like, I think we're about 6 inches taller than the deck because of the grade, you know. And then everything will be nice and straight too, so that'll be cool. But yeah, it's gonna work out real nice. It was something that, you know, once again, you know, I never claimed to be a genius with this stuff because I'm clearly not. You know, even though I've done this so many times, you'd think by now I'd figure out how the fuck to do it. But you know. it seems like no matter what you do, you can always look back and say, I should have done that this way instead. So that's where I'm at now. I looked at everything I've done, and my wife thinks, "Oh, you did a really great job." So my neighbors come out and go, "Man, that's really cool," and I get a lot of good stuff out of it. And, I'm not happy with it. And the bottom line is it's my layout. So if I'm not happy, that's the only thing that counts. So I kept looking at it, going, it's not what I want. It's not how it should have been done. And I really need to clean up some stuff, make some changes that'll make the layout nicer. I look at some of your guys' layouts, like Tom Grassi, for example. He's got a nice setup. A little busy, but really nice. He's got a lot of technology in it, which I won't go there, but that's his choice, and that's cool. Dave Thurber, big area, very clean. His layout's very, very organized and clean. I love that. That's kind of what I was shooting for too, a little bit. A lot of you guys, your layouts are really nice, but it doesn't matter what I think anyway. It matters what you think of your layout. If you're happy with it, that's the only thing that counts. And that's where I was. I was not happy with my layout, and I have to make it to where I'm happy with it. I'm not going to go back and start from scratch again. There's no way I was going to tear all this shit down and start over. That ain't happening. A, I don't have the money, and two, I just don't have the will to do it. Because some of it I really like. It's not bad. But there were some aspects that I was not happy with. And I really wanted to have a second level that went 3 walls instead of just 1. Because I really needed more real estate and I didn't have it. Like I said, I was never big on helixes, but the reality is there's no other realistic way to do it. Unless I wanted to have a completely separate second deck, like a switching deck, but you wouldn't be able to interact with the lower, which would kind of suck. So I said, I want to be able to access both, move trains from top to bottom and vice versa. The only way to do that is with a helix. So, it's kind of funny, I guess there's a lesson there too. Don't badmouth anything because you may wind up having to do it anyway. And remember, I was never a big fan of helixes. As a matter of fact, I wasn't a big fan of resin printers either, remember? And what I wound up buying 2 of them. They have their place. But at the time, I'm thinking, nah, what the hell am I going to do with that, Until I bought one, I'm thinking, what the hell was I thinking? All those great shit that I can make now. All tiny stuff, figures and barrels and all kinds of cool stuff I really couldn't print well on the filament printer. So I had to change my line of thinking. I kind of learned a lesson there. Don't badmouth things, because ultimately you wind up stuck with them. I'm guessing anyway, right? Like this morning I was making, well, it wasn't really, it was all fun. But I was making fun of Dave because he was like 15 minutes behind in the chat, which, it happens. Happens to all of us. But I was doing pretty good. Like, I think probably the last, maybe 6 months I haven't really gotten behind. So I said something this morning in jest, of course. So what happens? Tonight I get behind, not once, but like a half a dozen times. Yeah, be careful what you wish for, So, he said, shit happens. What can I say? So anyway, that's the plan. At least it's a good plan, I think. Hopefully everything will work out fine for me. It's possible there will be some little adjustments here and there, as I'm going around with this, but I think I've got a fairly good, as far as the second level is pretty well set. I think that's going to be not a problem. Placement of stuff on the second level, that I haven't even considered yet. Like I said, I want to retain my scrapyard. Probably the next one's going to be a little bit larger, at least in length, or width rather, because the old deck was, the old second level was 24 inches deep. The new one's not going to be anywhere near that. So I'm thinking I'm going to put the buildings against the wall, you know, and then have the track further forward, just one line, and maybe it'll be probably a runaround, a siding or whatever. And then hopefully enough room for a 2-lane road. If I can pull all that off in 18 inches, I'll be fine. Should be able to. Now, I've got the crane for the intermodal. That's pretty big. I don't think it may or may not fit. I don't think it will on an 18-inch deep thing. Because I think it's almost like, it's about, I think 13 inches wide, I think. So I may have to put that on the back wall, maybe make that a little bit larger. We'll see. But either way, it's going to go back up there because I want the intermodal. I want my scrap yard. I want to have a, what do you call it? I can't think of the name now. A railroad area there where, stuff, track, wheels, and all that stuff. So I want to have that yard too. Now, I still have my turntable that it was originally on this side. It won't be on this side anymore. It'll be over here near the staging yard. And Tom Grassi brought up a point. Well, how are you going to do that on, 16 inches? Because you almost need 2 foot in order to go all the way around there. Because it's 190 millimeter, I think, in diameter. So I think, well, obviously I can't do anything on the side, probably. But I could have maybe 5 or 6 tracks and then one into the main. So I could still, park. And if I put it far enough back, I could have the same amount of tracks on the back side. And maybe at some point I'll either buy or print an engine house, a roundhouse, so I could store some of the locos. And we'll see. Like I said, I have to figure all that out yet. I haven't gotten that far. That's going to be a few months down the road, no matter how you look at it. So, some of the stuff that was here on the left will now be going to the right. Like I've got the local repair house, engine facility. That's also going to be over there. Because it doesn't belong on this side if the turntable isn't there. So we'll see. Did this thing stop on me again? Yeah, I hate when that happens. Oh yeah. I was wondering why nothing was happening here. I'm real behind now. Let's see. Andy says, would have thought aluminum would have... No, not really. Aluminum is pretty solid. Yeah, I screw everything, man. Well, as long as it's female anyway right now. Don't want the wife hear that, but as far as the wood goes, yeah, I would rather use the deck screws than nails. The deck screws I know aren't coming out. Like the handyman that did this ramp for me outside, he used nails on it. The fucking nails are all popping out all over the place, from the wood flexion stepping on it. I don't know why he did that. I said, I'll use screws on everything. I always have, always will. Jade says, I'm looking into a DJI Pocket 2 camera for rail fanning cattle. That'd be cool. Russ says, I came in late too. That's alright. Not a biggie. Let's see. Roy says, JD, yes, that's the plan, portable layout. Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's if you think that might, you need to move it at some point, then that's the way to do it. And Russ asks, hey, Ken, did you get that house sold yet? Andy says, look like Richard is going for a couple of S160s, Jane. I watched that video today. That's a pretty cool. I have no use for them, but for somebody who might be interested, that's a nice locos. for steam, you know. Let's see. James says you need to keep us happy too. Yeah. Ken says working on truck engine now, waiting on getting heads back and new crank, cams on order with new flifters, push rods and springs, got new oil pump and engine tuner module so far. Cool. I'd like to invest in one of those tuners and do something with my Grand Marquis, because I know you can really light that engine up if you can recalibrate everything. Stupid. They got a fucking governor on that car. It does 113 and that's it. Not a mile more. Even though the car is capable of doing 140 or better. You know. But they got it governed, I guess, to protect it maybe, or to, get some longevity out of it. But there are times though I'd like to go a little bit faster, so I would take the governor off altogether. Mickey says you're going to. I have a red. Well, I have my nude lake. Where's that at? I can't see there. Let me re-angle the camera. Maybe if I get to it. Oh. There you go. There's the nude lake. That's Doodle Lake. Named it after my old dog Roxy. We call her Doodle for short. So I named that Doodle Lake. It's kind of messy right now, but got a bunch of nude women there, a couple of dogs. That's the only red light district, so to speak, that I have. That would be a lower level thing anyway. I don't think I'd put that on the second level. Russ says, I watched some of your demolition videos, Jim. I almost cried. Ah, come on. It's going to be way better, though, man. And that's the only reason I did it, because I figured I could do it so much better. And it's going to look nice when it's done. Floyd wants to know, hey, James, are you thinking about coming to Paris on Saturday to watch trains? You mean Paris, or Paris in Canada? I says, I'm glad you're not having. Oh no, I wouldn't do it. It's just most of the layout is fine. It was just some things. The second level was terrible. I wasn't happy with it. The overhead rail, I wasn't 100% happy with. I said I wanted to rework it, and that's what I'm going to do. Made these new. I don't know if I showed you or not. I made these new supports. Because these are the old ones. And I don't need them this big anymore. So I shortened it down. There's about 2.5 stories in scale. The other ones were like 4 stories in scale. And I've got it so that the trestle bolt, it will glue right on top of it perfectly. And then the track will go on top of that. So it's going to be a lot nicer than it was. It'll look better. It'll work better. And that was... one of the things. Hey, Raymond Anthony 127 just got here. Good to see you. Yeah, I do have a plan for the Helix. If you came in late, I talked about. I was originally to go with. Shit, I can't remember the name of the place now. Huh? That happens all the time. That's bad when I can't remember something, right? What the hell is the name of that? Trackside Scenery Shop. Okay, Trackside Scenery rather. I was gonna buy one. It's a kit. Tom Grassi made his out of the same one. But I need 6 levels to get 18.5 inches. Otherwise, I'd only be at 14, and that wasn't good enough. Because initially I was talking 4 levels, and it's like, no, that would not do it. So 6 levels would cost me over $600. That's a lot of money for basically foam board, and that's what it's made out of. It's a nice setup. They did a beautiful job of the way they make it. Easy to assemble. Uh, but everything is made out of what they call gator board. It's basically foam board. And your risers are made out of it. Your helix sections are made out of it. And your clamps are also made out of it. It's not a bad system. But each piece, each helix part, and there's 8 for a complete loop, is $10. Well, I need 6 loops. Plus, I need the risers are $10 each. I need a shitload of those. So I'm thinking, man, this is going to break the bank. So I thought I'm going to use the hardwood fiber board, same stuff as this, same thickness, 1/8 of an inch. This is more rigid. I could do it with 3 4x8 sheets of the stuff. I could do the whole thing for less than $100 as far as the helix part goes. I'll have to cut everything out manually, of course, no big deal. And the risers I could actually print on my printer. And then the nice thing about that is I could custom make the risers to get the exact dimensions I need. And still, I think I wrote it. I got all this stuff written down. I mean, it's crazy, you know. That's just one of the sheets I got. It's a 2.46% grade, so 2.5 inch grade, 2.5%. 8 sections per loop. Of course, I'll do it in one section because, like I said, I'll just cut out the whole thing and then glue each section to the other. And I'll have to make some straights and all that. So, like I said, I can make the whole helix for right around $100 if I use the fiberboard. That's acceptable to me. 600 plus, not so much, you know. And like I said, it's just fucking foam. Yeah. I mean, I could probably buy the same foam board in sheets and probably get it dirt cheap and then just cut it out myself, but he uses a laser to do it, so it's really precise, where I don't think I could do it that precise with a blade. But this here I can cut and sand it down to where it'll look nice, you know. Like I said, I don't really care what it looks like anyway. It's going to be in the other room. I won't see it, you know. I mean, I have a camera there to monitor things when the train's going up or down, but for the most part, it's not going to be out here in the middle of everything. So that's how I'm going to do it. James says, Floyd, yes, I'm trying to find out what is happening. My wife needs a ride to an internship for a friend of ours. Oh, cool. Tom says, Jim, what goes around comes around. I'm not sure what you're referencing to that, but yeah, pretty much that's true. I mean, if you're talking about me making fun of Dave, that's true, like I said. Or even on a helix, what goes around comes around eventually, right? Jim, car ferry. Load the ferry on top, move ferry to the bottom deck, unload, reverse. I looked at that as a possibility, but because I like to do long consists, that probably wouldn't work out too well. I mean, that would be easy to make too, the elevators, you know, they got for those, but I'll just stick with the helix. Carolina says, Roy, you're all about a boat today. Jumped on me again, damn it. Gee, this thing really does jump too. What the hell? Let's see, anywhere floats your boat. Car ferry would save Jim $600. That's true. Time to hit the. All right, Andy. Thanks for popping in. We'll see you next time. Have a safe and good weekend. We'll see you next week, man. Raymond says, he always says every week, a real fan is never late, Frodo Baggins. Nor are they early. They arrive precisely when they mean to. A lot of truth to that, in a weird sort of way. Sure, a wise man once said that, right? Russ says the real fan part of me is rusty right now, Raymond. There you go. Thank you, Grandpa, for that 2020. It's kind of like vision. I'm like, my vision's not quite 2020. It's 2025, but that's pretty fucking close, so. All right, Ken, have a good one then. Enjoy your dinner, and thanks for popping in. And you have a safe and good weekend, too, and we'll see you next time. Russ says, I haven't been real fanning in ages. I haven't been either lately. I need to go out there and, the sugar train, they bought another locomotive. I'm not sure what it is yet. I only glanced at it. They haven't painted it yet, so I know it's a new one. It looks like it could be another tunnel motor. I'm not sure. So, one of these days I need to go out there and really pay attention. But I got so much trees in my backyard, it's hard to get a good look at anything. Usually I have to go down to where the crossing is and pretty cleared out there, and I could, shoot videos. But I haven't done it lately. I've been busy doing other things. Hi JD, thanks for popping in. You have a safe weekend too, and we'll see you next time. Had a Grand Prix that did 110, 112. It would shut the engine off. Ask me how I found that out. Same way I did, I'm sure. I always want to see what the car will do. So if somebody accuses me of something, that car only do 130, How do you know? Well, how do you think I fucking know? They said one time I got pulled over. I hit a pack of dogs. It wasn't my fault. Long story I'm not going to get into, but somebody called the sheriff. They were ready to arrest me over. They said, well, we got to report you were doing 140 plus down this road, right? And I'm going, well, the car only does 110. How do you know that? Because I've done it before, but not today. You look at my skid marks, I was barely doing 40. And that's how I got away with it, because, obviously somebody was full of shit, probably the cop, but, it's always good to know what your car can do, just in case somebody pulls that crap. Russ's nude beach online. You gotta have a nude beach, man. Jim needs a buxom melon store. Yeah, I'm not gonna touch that one either. Well, actually, I would if I could, but Tom Grassi says, Jim, will you be able to run trains on the first level, or do you need to clean it? No, actually, they run right now. I just didn't run them tonight. But yeah, they can still run. I left everything cleaned up for it, so probably next week we'll be running again on the show. Let's see. What material is that? The gator board, they laser cut that. You can cut it with a knife though. Now, the hardboard, this stuff here, you have to jigsaw it, which is not a big deal. To do a curve, a decent one, I would use a jigsaw. Straight, I can use either the skill saw or the table saw. But for the helix, I would use that. What is the radius? I don't have that information in front of. Oh yeah, I do. The radius is going to be 24 for the track. That's center line. I would go bigger, but they don't have any curved track without road bed attached. It's anything bigger than 24. That's the biggest radius you can get. Now see here, I've got 30 degree radius, 30-inch radius, whatever. But that's flex track, and I actually had a gauge for it, and it's a lot easier to lay the curved flex track on a flat surface like this than it is on a helix. So on the helix, and even Tom Grassley said, hey, look, don't use flex on your helix. It's a pain in the ass. I'll take him at his word, so I'm just going to use, the pre-cut curves, get them in place, then glue them down once I know it's right. But so, yeah, the only thing without a road bed attached is 24-inch. They make 26-inch, like, was it Cotto and Walters and the other I can't remember the other one. They have the track with the with the roadbed built right onto it, plastic roadbed. Problem with that too is it sits really high. Because actually I have some walrus here, and I don't know what I did with it. I put it, oh, here it goes, right here. Yeah, this is the walrus right here. It's got the roadbed on it. And it sits really high. It sits almost, I think it's like a little more than half an inch, right around a half inch. So if I use this, of course, this, I think the radius on this is 18, which sucks. You know, I wouldn't use it, but they do make this in 26. The problem is then I would have a steeper grade because I'd have to have more of a distance between the top of the railhead and the ceiling of the helix. So that was another thing I had to, I spent like half a day researching all this stuff, finding out what's out there, what I could afford. And I ran it all. Like I said, there was a lot of stuff that I really had to, you know. You might need rise. Well, like you said, there's lots of ways. I'm going to duplicate the risers they have, similar, but I'll print them instead of using the foam board. They have laser cut foam board. I won't be using foam board, so I'll just print them on my printer. Once I have the dimensions for the do I have it here? Yeah, I think I got it here. Oh, maybe it's not on this one. I got it written down here somewhere. I think it's one of these sheets, but the distance between the top of the railhead and the bottom of the next loop up. That's how they measure it. I think it's like something like 3.07 inches. And like I said, I can adjust that if I need to. But if I want to stay with the 2.5% grade, I got to stay pretty close to that. If I go too much over, it's going to increase the grade up to, close to 3, and that's going to make it tough to bring a loco up on. So, rest of it's great. Yeah, I have to, man. I mean, I still got a fairly good memory, but there's too many numbers here. I would not remember all this shit. So I just, like I said, I'll take notes and I'll make sure I save the sheets and all that until I finish. And it's like, I got this other sheet here. Yeah, I was looking at diameters, and I do rough drawings and stuff, Anything I think I got to do, I'll write it down, and I will figure shit out, I mean, especially with this, I can't afford to make a mistake, because if I hang the second level, because I'm doing this before I'm installing the helix, obviously, So if I don't get it right, or at least close, I'm going to have big problems when I put the helix in. So fortunately, this other company that makes their helixes, they put all the dimensions on everything, which is great. And they do that to help you figure out how many levels you need, how far up to go, and all that. So based on what they've got their set at, my top level will land at 18.5 inches from the top of the first level. I could be plus or minus maybe even 10 millimeter, really. I mean, realistically, because I'm going to have probably a 15-inch straight, both on the top and on the bottom, going through the wall. So there could be a little bit of a grade on there, and it won't make a difference as long as it's perpendicular, or it works with the helix itself. So the helix comes out straight, I can't have this, or this up here. But like I said, I can adjust things out a little bit, and I'm not too worried. But I wanted to get as close as possible, and based on these measurements, I should be okay. It jumped on me again, not Tad. This thing drives me nuts. Journals are good too, James. Anything to document your thoughts. That's true. My vision is food bar. Fucked up fucked up beyond all recognition. Yeah, mine's getting that way. Sometimes it seems like anyway. Roy says I was just trying to say, oh, absolutely, Roy. I take everything you guys say seriously. Trust me, it's in my head, so you know. And I'm all for saving money. All right, Floyd. Well, thanks a lot for popping in. I hope we had a good discussion tonight. And as always, have a good and safe weekend, and we'll see you next time. Good night for now. And there's CNL Lines, Curtis. What the hell, man? I haven't heard from you in forever. I thought maybe you fell off the planet. I'm doing okay, man. I don't know about everybody else. I guess everybody's doing okay. Let's see. Floyd emailed me. Fortunately, I've got a pretty good collection of your emails, and some of y'all I got your addresses too, in case I want to send you something or you buy something or whatever. So I got a pretty good. I got a big folder there of all this stuff. Tom says I use a program called OneNote. Have all my projects and notes listed. Oh yeah, I've heard of that. I've never used it though. I don't know if I have it on my computer or not. I might. I don't use it though, you know. But that's a good program to use though. Hey, I'm still kind of old school. Give me a piece of paper, I'll be fine. If it's real important, I'll transfer it into a file and put it on a computer. Either Word or some other document that's, you know, useful to me. Curtis says he's working in the garden. Well, better you than me. And Curtis, my neighbor, came over a couple of weeks ago and he says, hey, he says, I'm cutting down some of my dead trees. You want me to cut down yours too? I said, sure. You know, because you've been to my place. I got a few like stumps that are ridiculously long, you know, like 15-foot stumps sticking out of the ground. So I said, sure, why not? So he says, all right. He says, I'm going to sharpen up my blade. I said, well, hold on. Says, you want anything to do my? He said, no, I'll do it for a friend, you know, for the favor. You know, I'll tell you what, I'll get you some new chains. Give me the size of your chainsaw, you know, your bar length, and I'll order 2 new chains for you. So, went on Amazon, because he was going to buy a new one local, and I said, you don't want to buy one. Fucking things are $30. He's got a 14-inch chain on his Echo chainsaw, and I said, that's crazy. Got 2 chains on Amazon for $12.99. Yeah, they're made in China, but they're holding up really good. I mean, he's still on the first chain. I bought a chain for mine too. I have an 18-inch Echo, and I said, well, I said, you know, I said, if you want to use my chainsaw, you can. You know, he says, I don't care. So he used both. He used mine and his, and I had a shitload of fucking trees, dead, you know, cut up trees in the yard. So he says, you know what? He says, I tried hitting them with an axe. He says, I can't split the wood. I said, well, they're Florida oaks. You ain't gonna split that, not with an axe. So he went down, he rented a log splitter from the rental place, and he split all the logs for me. I gave him some. I got almost 2 cords of split firewood. And so I'm good with wood now. I won't need any more from you, Kurt. I mean, he spent, I think, 3 hours cutting all this wood up, and he rented a hydraulic one, a 27-ton splitter. It just kicked up. There are a couple of ones that I had a tough time doing, but so anyway, that's what we've been doing the last couple of weeks. And I had all those 4x4s buried they were concreted in the ground back there for the first deck for the shed that was supposed to go there. Of course, I had to get rid of the deck because it wasn't even my land. We won't go into that, but so I says, hey, I says, you know, if you get bored, you want to cut all those 4x4s out. They're sticking out of the ground about maybe a foot. I said, sure, no problem. So yesterday I went over there and he whacked them all out of there for me. Guy's great, man. I own big time. I said, you want any money? I said, I'll give you. I'll pay you. No, I don't want no money, so I need a favor. You'll help me out, right? Absolutely. So we barter a lot of stuff, which is cool. Let's see. Russ says, computer have to be replaced too often. Are constantly screwing up. I prefer hard. Yeah, well, I like the computer too, but well, I back up everything. I got one of these. Matter of fact, I'm getting about to do that. I've got a backup drive. These are pretty handy. This is a 2 gigabyte drive because I've only got 1 gig in or 1 terabyte rather. I got a terabyte drive, and this is a 2 terabyte drive. I have a 4 terabyte in the house for the main computer, but I back up everything in about every couple of weeks because I don't trust computers either. Too many times, fucking thing will lay down on me and, drive goes bad or something. But yeah, and in some ways, I still have a lot of hard copies of stuff too, just to be safe. John Nippenberg wants to know what you're growing, Curtis. Hey, you growing trains? If you could, you'd get rich real quick, because, man, prices are getting nuts out there for train stuff. And Tom says, stuff, Russ, all depends how you take care of them. You treat them well, they treat you well. That's true. All right, James, have a good one, man. Thanks for popping in. Don't forget to let me know how those trucks come out for you. I'm interested to see what you do with them. What was I talking? Oh yeah, so we've been busy around. I actually get things done, not necessarily personally, but I do get things done. Yeah, I felt kind of bad because here the guy's busting his ass, doing this shit for me, and I'm thinking, man, I'd at least like to help him, but I'm in a position where I can't do a lot of heavy work anymore, and I would have brought him at least the cut pieces, put them next to the splitter, but I couldn't even carry half of the fucking things. So it really sucks. Well, technically they do, Russ, but I generally go about 5-6 years on one, and then I'll retire it and upgrade it. Because like this one here, I think is 4 years old. And the one in the house, I think, is a little over 3 years old. Now, the one in the house gets a lot more use than this one does because I've got like 12 drives on the one in the house. And I belong to a movie site, so I download movies and TV shows. I watch them on the big screen, TV and for the computer. Plus, I do surfing and everything else. And here, this is all train related for this. But I usually get pretty good life out of these things. I don't know what's going to happen because the problem is a lot of you guys by now know that they're going to Windows 11. And they may try and force us to go to 11 anyway. I think 11 sucks. I really don't want it. But at some point, I think we're not going to have a choice. Now, when I built these two computers, I was originally running Windows 7. Which I had good luck with 7. I had no problem with it. Worked fine for me. When I went to load up 7 in these two machines, it wouldn't accept it. So I'm using the Ryzen CPUs in both machines. I got an 8-core in the house and a 6-core out here. And it's a brand new chip. They were kind of pricey, but I liked them because they're fast. But I didn't know you couldn't run Windows 7 on it. It minimum had to be Windows 10. So I went to Windows 10. Turns out I like 10. But now, like I said, they're kind of fucking us over again with they want to go to 11. They're already talking about 12. Well, is 11 that fucked up to where you got to do a 12? Why don't you just pick one and leave it alone? I mean, I'd be happy if they kept 10 forever. I have no problem with it. Works great for me. But, like I said, this is And this is one of the problems you're going to run into anytime you mess with computers. They're either going to obsolete you out of them, or they're going to break down and leave you in the lurch anyway. Okay, Tom, that sounds good. Give me a few minutes to, give me about a half an hour before you call me after I shut down, and we're probably going to lock this down anyway at 9 o'clock, so give me a call around 9:30. I'll have everything locked up here. I'll be in the other house. I'm ready to yak with you. Rest says, I don't have time to be an IT professional. I replace them every 3 to 6 years. Come on, man, you got to be an IT pro. I'm not either, but I can be. I mean, I'm pretty smart with these things. I build mine. I don't buy them. I build my own. I always have, and probably for the last 30 or 40 years. The last one that I bought was a 486. And prior to that, I had 386, 286, a couple of 8088s and 8086. I'm going way back now, back in the 70s, but, But right after the 486s, I started thinking about, what, I just soon buy one or build one to do what I wanted to do. And I actually saved a lot of money. I mean, the one in the house, if I bought that the way it is right now, it'd be about $6,000, pre-built. I got just under 2,000 in it. It's a nice machine, This one here is a lot cheaper. I think I got $700 tied up in this one. But if it was pre-built, it'd probably be around 1,500. It's have more RAM than normal. The faster CPU, the better motherboard. This way I get to build them for what I want them for, which is hard to do when you're buying something already on the market. But if you can handle, just your store-bought computer, then yeah, that's probably the way to go. Carolina says, Windows Vista. Yeah, I used Vista for a while. I used 7, Vista. XP I thought was great, but they shit canned that real quick. I started out with Windows 3.0, which was DOS. Right now, that was right after. I actually started out with DOS. I went to Windows 3.0. Then I got a copy of 3.1, and then we went into, what was next after that? That was the Millennium, I think, Millennium Edition. I had that one. I fucked around a lot of them, but, it's all hit and miss with Microsoft. They'll get something good. Instead of leaving it the hell alone, oh no, we gotta do it better, and then they fuck it all up for a while, and eventually they get back on the right path, and it's working good. Like Windows 10 is great. Oh no, we can't have that. We gotta get something better, So Windows 11, from what I understand, for some people like it, but I don't see the point, Rest says Microsoft updated me 11 while I was sleeping without my knowledge. Yeah, well, see, the funny thing is, both my machines won't run 11. My laptop almost does, which is 10 years old. Like I said, these two are 3 and 4 years old, respectively. And the one in the house, I got the Ryzen chip in it, the 8-core. It won't run on that chip. I don't know why, but it won't. Says it won't. This one will run on the 6-core chip, but I don't have a component in here that it needs to have for 11 to run, so this ain't happening. On the laptop, it would run. It's compatible, except I don't have enough RAM in it. I think I've only got 4 mega RAM in it, or 4 gig of RAM. And I think you need either 8 or 16. I can't remember. I could upgrade it, but why? So I just said, all right, fine. 3 computers won't accept it. I guess I ain't getting it. So hopefully I'll just stay with 10 until 12 comes out. If 12 is compatible, then I'll go with that. Because otherwise, I'd literally have to replace the motherboard and CPU on both computers just to run 11. Well, fuck that. And if they do shit can 11 go to 12, and 12 won't run on the newer ones, then what? I'm not playing that game. It's not happening. John says, I never turn off my work computer or until it, that's true. Well, this one I do turn on and off, but the one in the house, I only turn off the monitor. The tower is on 24/7. The only time I've ever turned it off is if I was going away for a day or more. But most time it stays on. And it's easier on the power supply too, you know. If you turn them on and off every day or multiple times a day, your power supply won't last that long as a rule. Then it turns itself off. Well, you can have it set up to do that. It defaults to that. I got mine to stay on forever. That's just easier that way. Rest says my home computer stays on all the time, Jaya. Tom says, John, I leave all my computers on 24/7, 365. Only time they restart is after update is applied. Turning them off. Yeah, that's true. It really isn't. It's like a light bulb. You know that Edison had a light bulb that from back in the 20s, I think. It was actually a DC bulb, 12-volt DC. But that same bulb has been burning for like 70 years. If they ever turn that thing off and turn it back on, it'd probably go poof, you know. But even an AC bulb, 110 volt AC, it'll last longer if you leave it on. You turn it on and off, every time you do that, it shortens its life. The more times you turn it on and off, the shorter it'll last. That's a fact. So it's kind of the same with the power supply in a computer. Because there's always a surge, whether you're turning it on or turning it off. So the power is pretty steady when it's always on. You know. Yeah, MS-DOS was it was, but you couldn't do much with it. I mean, it didn't have USB support or anything. Matter of fact, that was why it wasn't XP didn't have USB support either. So that was a big thing. Rest of mine don't make it 10 years. I remove hard drives and e-cycle the rest. There you go. Hey, Derek, how's it going? How's the maniac layout? You missed all the good stuff, and I ain't repeating myself. You'll have to watch the replay. I do cover all of it pretty much for the last 3 hours. So everything I plan on doing, what I've done, why I'm doing it. So that you should be able to answer all your questions. But I'm getting ready to wrap up here at 9 o'clock, so we got 13 minutes. So, but I've been busy. You know, I'm not getting as much done as I'd like, as fast as I would like. But I'm not that fast anymore. I mean, I work for 5 minutes, got to rest for 15, you know. I just can't be on my feet too long. It's just, my back is messed up, my hips messed up or something. And it's very painful to stand for long periods. So I'll get up, I'll do something for a few minutes, get it accomplished, hopefully, go sit down for 10 or 15, rest my back, get back up, rinse and repeat, and that's what I do, you know. It takes longer, but then again, it does keep me busy too, which is fine. So I always watch from the beginning to help the watch hour. There you go. Hey, you know, my watch hours are great. I can't seem to get beyond. Last I looked, I was at 459 subs. For a day, I had 460. I don't know if they screwed up or they lost one. I don't know what happened. I can't seem to get past 459. You know, I put out shorts. Of course, now I'm doing and they're not real long, the progress reports. I'll probably be doing a few more for all said and done. But I'm not picking up any new subs. Not that it's a big deal, but it's just kind of odd. You would think that, you know, you would. So we'll see. Oops, I would have to. But anyway, so yeah, I've been a little busy. And probably everybody's saying, about time, you fat ass, you know, and get off your ass and do something, right? And there really is, there's some truth to it. I mean, I've been so lazy lately, and I needed a little kick in the ass to get me started. So kind of kicked myself in the ass, if that makes any sense. But I just needed to do something. I was getting way too complacent, man. I just didn't want to do anything. Or I wanted to, but I didn't really want to. So, I have to kind of I gotta psych myself up to do shit these days. Let's see, I'm now up to 381 views and watch hours up to. Oh, cool. Well, I got plenty of watch hours. I said if I can get 500, I could monetize. Not that I really care, but I got the watch hours. I just don't have the damn subs. You know. Um, yeah, you're right, John. I do kind of have a loyal following. I really thank you guys. I mean, I'm amazed, because I'm not, like I said, I don't do anything that special. You know, I'm entertaining. I know that, but you know. Ray says you would need to create TikTok style dance shorts. No, that would probably, people would be hunting me down to shoot me, to put me out of my misery and save their eyesight. That ain't gonna happen. Trust me on that. Rest says I have to take lots of breaks too, Jim. I totally understand. I have severe back and hip problems. My project, yeah. Well, like I said, since I had the stroke, it really messed me up to some. I mean, yeah, I'm mobile and I can sort of half-ass walk, but I found a funny thing. I went to the chiropractor a few months back because my back was really acting up, and I'm thinking, well, I don't want surgery. Maybe the chiropractor. He really did help me, but he was measuring my legs, and there's a 1 inch difference in length between my right leg and my left leg, and that's from the stroke because the short leg is the one that was affected by the stroke. I have right side weakness. I actually shrank. So actually, he said he stretched me out. I don't know. He says it's not going to put you back where you were, but it'll help, and it did. And then I found out the other day I bought some new shoes from Temu. The Chinese got a good deal on them because these fucking deck shoes I wear, they suck. They're cheap and no doubt about it. So I bought a decent pair of shoes. And I had the wife, because you have to measure your foot because their sizes are different from ours, And normally I wear a 9.5, 10 in American shoe size. In Chinese, it's a 43. Well, I bought 42s because I had to measure my right foot. Turns out my left foot is bigger than my right foot by about a 1/2 inch in length. So the right shoe fit beautifully, The left shoe was so tight it was actually starting to hurt my feet. So I just ordered another pair, the next size up. So I'm thinking what I'm going to wind up doing is using the 43 on the left foot and the 42 on the right foot. It sounds kind of fucked up, but, it happens. So that's good to know now because I never paid much attention to it. If she would have measured my left foot, I would have got the 43s, but then the right foot would have probably been kind of loose. So I think that's something too that comes with age to some degree. Yeah, it's like women, one breast is bigger than the other. Like every woman is like that once they have boob job done, because nature-wise, one is slightly larger than the other. My mother says if you got a person in half right down the middle, the sides wouldn't match up properly because one side is always larger than the other. It's God's design. I can't say I disagree or anything. It's just the way it is. Shorts are for wearing, not watching. Hey, at one point I would even wear the damn things. The only reason I wear them now is because they're easier to get on and off, and I can't find a pair of jeans that fit me right. I mean, back in the day, they used to say I was square. I wore 30-30, 30 waist, 30 length. Well, now I'm like a 40 waist and a 26 or 27 inch length. I actually lost, an inch. I used to be 5'7", now I'm 5'8", or 5'6" rather. Once again, that comes with age, but I'd never get caught dead in shorts unless I went swimming. And I wouldn't wear swim trunks, so I wore cutoffs. I just never been big on showing my legs, I guess. I don't know. I just felt more comfortable in long pants. Now I'm kind of the opposite, but You know, it is what it is. Let's see. Waycross says, Jim, my old HO Scout was 24-inch radius. I decided to 28 or 29-30, and using any rail track planning. I tried 32-inch radius, but up too much space. But yeah, well, that was the problem. I said I've got 28 and 30 on my main lines, but I used flex, and I had a gauge for it, so that was no problem. The Helix, though, it's easier to use curved track. And like I said, the biggest Atlas makes is 24 inch. 24 degree, whatever it is. Now, if you want to get the Kato or the Wallers, and I think the other one is the Bachmann, with the road bed built into it, they have 26. But I didn't want the built-in road bed. They said this is a Wallers right here. I got some of this stuff. I didn't buy it. I just got it. And it's very tall. And doesn't even look good, actually. I think it looks stupid. So I just like having regular track. And on the Helix, I'm not even going to use road bed on it. I'll put it right on the board. You know, like I said, it's going to be in the other room. I'm not going to hear it. It'll be a little louder than normal, but I won't hear it because it'll be in the other room, so I don't care. But I said the easiest way to go is 24 inches, because I really wanted to go 28, at the very least 26. But it's not going to pose a problem for me though, because everything I have, they claim will run on 18, and it probably will. So 24 puts me well past the margin of safety, so to speak. The only thing I have that's really long anyway is the steam engine. And they say that'll run on 18. I don't see how. But they say it will. And I mean, it runs great on the 28 and the 30. But I think it'll probably run fine on the 24. And if it don't, then I won't put it on the Helix. I'll use diesels for the Helix. All my diesels will run on 24 with no issue. So, not a big deal. Big Jim dancing in a thong would finally be the thing to end TikTok. Yeah, it would end more than TikTok. You'd all go fucking blind. For one, you can never unsee that. Trust me, I would not do that to even my worst enemy. So, that's something to think about right there, right? And it jumped on me again. No, actually, they were $21 for the pair from Timo. They had a special set. They were half off. They were regular 53, and I got them for 21, free shipping. They had them down to $6 if you had like a size 5. Well, that's a kid's shoe, And so like I said, I wound up with the equivalent of a 9, I guess. Like I said, I went by there. They measure your foot, and if it's like my foot, I think was 9 3/4 inches long, the right one. So that's a 42 in Chinese size. So that's what I ordered, a 42. I didn't realize that my left foot was slightly fucking bigger than my right foot. So I wore the shoes for like 3 or 4 days. Very comfortable. They said the left one was unusually tight, but I figured it'll stretch out. Well, it didn't. And it was actually, I was getting a knot on the back of my ankle, So I said, I better quit wearing them until I get the right size. So I ordered another pair. They'll be in, I think, next week. But they're quality shoes. They're no-name brand. I mean, some Chinese brand, but I think they're just as good as anything American made and way cheaper, because I don't know what shoes cost now, but I bought a pair of hiking boots, or hiking shoes, I guess. Probably that was before I had the stroke, so that was about like 2004, 2005. I paid $70 for those things. They were good shoes, though. I mean, they lasted forever, but I couldn't wear them after the stroke because I couldn't walk that well. But But they were great shoes. But it's like I said, 70, and that was back then. Those same shoes today, probably looking at $150, $175. That's just fucking crazy. I'm not paying that much for a pair of shoes. Ain't happening. And Roy says, since I started posting shorts, videos under 1 minute, just looking back, my green CP unit video made 9.6 thousand views. Has several, that's not bad. Well, that's what I said. I started doing shorts too. And it did help. I picked up probably around 40, 50 subs. Because I was down in the 3-something range for a long time. But it's just like I said, I got to 459 and it's just like, it just stopped. So we'll see. Curtis says can't win for losing. A lot of truth to that, Curtis, unfortunately. Trade man or Mickey says, yeah, 1 foot. I guess that's true. I never paid my. I mean, I think they were so close it wasn't an issue prior to the stroke. But literally, because I favor this leg, the right one. So I put most of the stress on my left leg. Matter of fact, I'm not going to show you, but my shin is way bigger on my left leg than it is on my right. I'm starting to get a little, what do they call it? I can't remember what it's called when you start withering away a little bit. So I'm not putting enough work on my right foot. So I think it shrunk, enough to the point where it made a difference. I've heard of other people having to buy 2 pairs of shoes, different sizes, because one foot was so much larger than the others. It's not unusual. I mean, not really. So I just didn't think it happened to me, Had I known that, I would have bought the 2 pairs right off the bat and saved myself the aggravation. John says, my dad never wore shorts. My dad always wore shorts. He loved shorts, I don't know why. And when he was a little guy, I mean, he was, I think, 5. I think for a while he was 5'6", and then he shrunk down to like 5'1" before he passed. But he loved his shorts. He wore them everywhere. Me, I had to have long. I mean, the only time he didn't wear shorts when he went to church. That was the only time he wore long pants, And they were dress slacks, I don't know. That says humans are not exactly symmetrical. I believe that is true, Jim. I know I am lopsided. Apparently we are, I never paid much attention. I mean, I'm lopsided if you look from either side now. The gut's way out there, But but I knew that about the women and their breasts, though. I mean, I said every girl I've ever been with, one's bigger than the other. The left one was usually larger than the right one. I don't know why. And it seems like it's consistent between all the women, I never met a woman where the right one was larger than the left one. The left one was always larger. Maybe it's because it's closer to the heart. I don't know. There had to be something to it, though. Let's see. Jumped on me. If you were to put an American Girl doll next to an N-scale setup, it would look like a doll-sized larger scale model train. Okay. I'm not going to touch that one. The rest says, I don't wear shorts anymore out of respect for other people. Oh, boy, my legs are tan. I mean, back before I started wearing shorts, man, you'd be blinded by my legs. They were as white as a ghost, But since I've been wearing shorts since 2007, they've darkened up, so they don't look real bad. I mean, they look normal, more or less, But that was another thing. My dad was bow-legged. I think I am a little bit, but not really enough to notice, unless you're paying real attention. My dad was severely bow-legged, so he looked kind of funny, but he was tan. He didn't have white legs either, because like I said, he loved his shorts, But I guess, it just depends, Some people look okay in them, some not so much. John says, I don't think either grandfather wore shorts either. Well, back in the day, no, it wasn't really common. Most men wore long pants, Either dress slacks or jeans or something. Russ says, shorts are for gals with nice legs. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, John, you're right. The skirts are better. I see the micro minis, Yeah, it's bad. Funny though. Scott says on the track plan from AnyRail, I was going with code 83, number 8 Pico turnout, and by the design, I decided on Pico code 83, number 6 for my yard and sidings, 6 for staging. Oh, that'll work. I'm using 8s on everything. I'll probably use the 8s on the staging too, only because I have a few of them laying around here, all Pico. I use code 100 on everything. The reason I went with the code 100 because it was cheaper. Because I was buying bulk boxes, like 103-foot pieces of track, the flex track at a time, and the code 100 was about $50 cheaper than the code 83 for the same amount. I don't know why. The 83 should have been cheaper, less material. But it was, that's how I wound up with code 100. I don't think it makes that big of a difference. I mean, for some prototypical things, if you want to get, really prototypical about something, yeah. I think it was it sidings. Sidings use 100 and mains use 83, I think. I'm not sure how that works, but, it is what it is. Let's see. Roy says, my right foot is wider and I think slightly longer. Well, both of my feet were wide, so that was not unusual either. And like I said, I usually had to get, when I bought shoes, they were the wider shoes. But I've always been able to wear the same size on both feet. But now, like I said, there's a big difference. I mean, like almost an inch. That's a hell of a big difference. I mean, it's funny because my toes are short on the right foot and they're very long on the left foot. I've always had long toes anyway. I could have been accused of probably, being from an ape or something because, monkeys and apes have long toes. My toes were long, but I swear the toes of my right foot shortened up. It's weird, but it's all because of the stroke though. Because it's not getting the same atrophy. That's the word. Thanks, Carolina. I think there's some atrophy coming into play there. Just the way it is. Roy says, ain't all of us pear-shaped? Well, yeah, most of us are now because, we're old. But back in our youth, not so much. You know it. We all know it. We were all pretty solid back in our youth, but mostly. Not so much anymore. It is after 9 already, isn't it? Fuck, who cares? We'll go a little longer. Roy says, John, I want to see you wear a kilt or a skirt or a kilt. My late brother-in-law, he wore a kilt. He was Scottish, and he wore a kilt all over the place. It looked kind of weird, I still think it's a skirt no matter how you look at it, but yeah, I would never say that to his face. It'd probably piss him off and probably want to kick my ass, but the guys, they do that shit. Now, if I understand, they don't wear anything underneath them either. So I'm told anyway. John says, no, sir, I don't. No one wants to see that. Roy says, I even wear shorts in 20 degrees. There you go. Scott says, Jim, you decide your own track plan or had so. Now, I did my own. I couldn't afford to pay somebody. I actually looked into it, and we were literally looking at $1,000 or more. I said, shit, for that money, I'll do my own. I'd rather put that money into the actual track and other things and hand it to somebody to do something I should be able to do anyway. Of course, like I said, mine wasn't perfect, obviously. But, that's half the fun, though, I still say that the building part is more fun than actually operating. Operating's cool, but, the best part of the layout is building the damn thing, That's when you're using everything you know. All your knowledge comes into play. You're an electrician, you're a carpenter, you're a fabricator. All these things come into play when you're building your layout. Once it's done, if it ever really gets done, then you're just an engineer. Hey, Mom and Son Train Rail Fans. Tammy, how's it going? Sorry running late. I had a spinal doctor's appointment today. Now I'm getting ready to go to bed one. Oh, okay, that's cool. I hope you're feeling good. And if you're not, I hope you feel better soon. Everybody got back issues these days, man. I'll tell you what, I don't wish that on nobody. Ugh. John says, I wear shorts in my house pretty much all year. I wear them everywhere. I go out with them. I don't care. Otherwise, hey, you gonna go out looking like that? What the hell? I ain't going to the prom. Who am I trying to impress? I don't care. You know. You don't like what you see? Don't look. Russ says, I'm 5'6" and wear size 10. Oh, shoes? Yeah, you got big feet, man. Well, not really. He said, I wear 9.5 as a rule. I can fit, well, I wore 10 for a while too. It depends on the brand, you know, because they're never exactly the same. Even Americans, you know, one brand will be a 10, the other one will be a 9.5. And I had shoes that were actually 9s that had a good fit at one time. But, you know, it was never consistent. It's like clothing too, you know. It is what it is. Another bad joke. This late in the day, if you have dentures, do not use artificial sweeteners. You will get a fake cavity. There you go. That's a good one, though. You gotta love those dad jokes. All right, guys. Well, look, I probably should wrap it up. It's 10 after 9. Anyway, we had fun. If you got any questions for what I'm going to do next, save them for next week. And I'll do my best to try and answer them. Roy says, sit on your butt and let the minions make the money for you. I wish I could, man. And Raymond says, I would create my own track plan because I'm not lazy. There you go. I said, I used to be 5'9". I was 5'7". I'm 5'6" now. Well, I don't know. He did stretch me out. I might have got back to 5'6.5". I don't know. I haven't actually checked, but he did say that. Yeah, I mean, it was painful. He stretched me out. It really was like putting me on a rack almost. And he said, you know, it was basically spinal decompression. And it does work, but it hurts a little bit at first. Scott says, I talked to waiters at pizza in a pizza buffet and telling me lots of people are quitting their job because the way they're trying. That's probably not unusual. You know, the whole work scene is really bad. In a way, I'm glad I'm not in it anymore. I had very little patience for asshole bosses anyway. And amazingly, I never got, well, a couple times I got fired, but most of the time they put up with me, I guess because they knew I was right, but, you know, it is what it is. All right, guys. Well, anyway, there'll be more videos coming out, and I'll see y'all next week. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me and having fun the way we do. And until next time, let me throw up the outro. Have a good night, everybody, and we'll see you next week.